All right. Hey, I think we're live. Should we
What's
start?
going on?
Should we start this? Let's start this officially here. Hey. Welcome back, everybody, to the Almost Sideways podcast. I'm your host, Terry Plucknett, and joining me, we've got Todd, we've got Zach, we've got Adam. This is episode 159. We're recording this on Sunday, January 16th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Of course, you know that if you're watching the YouTube live stream because we're live streaming this on YouTube. Hey, we thought it's a special occasion. This is the yearly reveal of the top 10 lists, so we thought let's get it out there, let the people decide. And so we also, on our podcast, you may have noticed if you've been listening that we talk about the football that happens to be going on while we're recording. Now you actually get to, hear it live. Anyways, I'm talking a lot right now. How's it going, guys?
Go Niners. Let's go.
I just have one question, which is what is the one food that 49ers kicker Robbie Gould would never eat?
There we go, Nickelodeon Live.
I don't know.
The answer is salami. That's
what?
Thank you,
I just lost so much respect for Robbie Gould. As if I had any to begin with.
I wonder if they give like these stats for like refs. Like if they ask Jerome Boger, what his favorite thing is to do besides, ruining football games. Oh, SpongeBob is so when they start kicking a field goal, SpongeBob is magically in the crossbars. That's interesting.
You gotta love the Nickelodeon broadcast.
Yep.
So yeah, we've got the Niners Cowboys game on. We'll be reacting to that as we go along. Behind me, I have Dune playing right now. You can kind of see it. It's there. If I move out of the way,
we're live on YouTube now. Don't get us a copyright strike now, Terry.
Oh yeah, because you could totally tell. You could there was a person on the screen. That's what you could tell.
True.
You come to the right place if you want a BitTorrent Dune.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome.
Exactly. All right. Well, this is going to be a lot of fun. We love lists, and so this is always like one of the highlights of our year is being able to reveal our top 10s. I mean, it'd be great if we could do something fun like this like once a month, but it doesn't really work. It can only be once a year. So it's an event podcast, and we're doing an event to celebrate it here. All right. Well, let's get into this. First, we're not reviewing anything. We're not doing anything like that. We're just jumping right into our list because that's what we do. But what are we drinking? There we go. Mr. Bill Murray here. Let's see here. We're gonna start with Todd. Todd, what are you drinking?
I got a Manhattan because it's a good occasion, and it's always a good occasion for Manhattans anyway. So
well done. I like that glass.
Yeah, it was shaken too, not stirred.
It's good.
What you did there.
A little frothy.
Zach, what do you got?
I've been doing dry January since January 12th, and I've been having a agua fria because there's no way I could make it through this list. Also, just navigating the screens on my computer while intoxicated. So you need a lot of attention to detail here, and
Unacceptable.
That Aquafina looks really good in your hand.
Thank you. It's a new Starbucks cup for the new year, by the way.
Dry November since the 12th.
January, but yeah. Sounds like
nice.
You need a dry January too, Terry. Confusing months.
I said since the 12th.
You said November, but...
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
I meant dry January.
Oh, to each their own.
Adam, what do you got?
You've been slimed. Can we slime Terry? Can we do slime? Adam, can we do that effect?
Well, we could do this. We can do that. Oh, hold on a second. Wait a second. No. Remove. No. There we go. I messed up. What did I do now?
Oh, we banished him. Even better.
Even better.
Now it's all out of order. You messed it up, Adam. There we go.
We're fixed now. Okay.
All right, Adam, what are you drinking?
Well, I went to the brewery. I sound like Terry right now. I went to the brewery this morning, and I got some, double IPA. It used to be called Balls Deep, but they're from Seven Seas Brewery. Very good one. And I may have to go into the water because this navigating different screens would be really a devastation.
Thank you. It's
right
very
now.
difficult to do.
Yeah, because I have to record my own audio, check for YouTube comments, check my notes.
And then we know something's going to happen in your background. Like there's going to be a dog that comes in or screaming children, or your boss is going to call about a broken porta potty. It's going to happen at some point. So
I might get another bonus. Who knows?
Exactly. Get a Martin Luther King Jr. Day bonus. Yeah.
All right. Well, what I have here, and you're right. This is all right. I got from Ridgewalker Brewery. This is their Hop into the Matrix hazy IPA.
Oh, yeah.
I got a can of this for Todd for Christmas. It's good stuff. I like a hazy IPA.
Ooh, will the Matrix make our top 10s? No. Okay. Cool.
Was
that a viewer question?
I would have had to see it, but
yeah, true.
All right. So we've got a lot of stats we want to get to. Do we want to go around and talk about all our stats first, or stats in bottom 5? Let's do stats in bottom 5.
Let's do it.
Okay. So I'm starting us all off here, and this is gonna be fun. So here are the stats here for my 2021 year. 71 films I watched from 2021 so far, which is pretty good. What?
Gotta get those numbers up.
Hey, I've done top 10 lists with 30 movies watched. So 71, I'm pretty impressed.
But you do a double feature once a week. That should be at least 100 movies.
Yeah, well,
true.
I didn't start
That's
doing that again until mid-year. Thanks, pandemic. Anyway, 71 films, 52 thumbs up. So that's a 73% thumbs up percentage, which it's pretty high. I'll admit it's pretty high. But I just there were a lot of movies I liked. I had so I rank my movies on a scale of 1 to 100, and for me to be a thumbs up movie, it has to be 80 or over. And my average ranking of a movie this year was 82.2. So I mean, that's right around where it needs to be. So those are my stats for you. Now let's get into my bottom 5. The worst movies of 2021 for me. Number 5, I was hoping would be one of the little surprise nuggets I found, but it turned out to be garbage, and that was Wolf. This movie,
okay.
This
Michelle
movie
Pfeiffer?
about these people who thought they were animals, and they were in conversion therapy. It could have been great. It ended up being boring. Number 4 is a movie we reviewed on the podcast, Cry Macho.
Wow.
I did not have very high expectations for it, and that was exactly what I got out of it. Was not very much. Clint needs to stop acting. Number 3 is one of the more disappointing movies. However, I never thought it looked good in the first place, and that's House of Gucci. It is number 3 on my bottom 5. Number 2
on our banner. Sorry, Terry. Why wasn't that on our Photoshop? That should have been on there.
It could have been.
It will be mentioned multiple times.
Yeah,
it probably will.
Number 2 is another movie that I did decent at the box office, but wasn't really that great, and that's Jungle Cruise.
Yeah,
it just was kind of boring. And number 1, which might be a consensus, I don't know, we'll see by the end of this. Worst movie of the year was Space Jam: A New Legacy. One of the worst movies I've seen in a very, very long time. I think it's been 15 years since I saw a movie that bad. So that's my bottom 5: Wolf, Cry Macho, House of Gucci, Jungle Cruise, and Space Jam 2. Zach, give us your stats in bottom 5.
Okay, so I just have a couple things to say, though, before we move on. First of all, I watched about 30 minutes, maybe, of Jungle Cruise, and I thought it was not terrible. I was wondering, where is Brandon Fraser in this movie? That's really why I stuck around that long.
His name is Brendan.
Oh, excuse me, Brandon. Okay, so my list. Let's see. I didn't really do this too much in advance. I watched 88 movies, and I gave 46 thumbs up. That's a horrible percentage for me. I mean, that's almost 50%. Most of the year, I was kind of flirting with majority of movies thumbs down. So a lot of movies sucked this year. And let's see. Okay, so bottom 5 movies. I'll kind of go through these fast. Number 5, I'm going to make a switch just because this one's more on my mind. The Tender Bar.
Audible at the last second.
Yeah, my number 6 movie I don't even really remember. Number 5 is The Tender Bar. Terrible, atrocious. Ben Affleck as a bartender. That you should only do that when you're watching Extract. Okay, that's the only movie he should be doing that in. Number 4, movie that you guys loved, Nobody. Maybe I was too harsh on it, but I don't want to spend. I spent $15 on that movie. I'm probably being too hard on it. I don't know. I wasn't in the right mood. It was it disrespected buses. Number 3, worst movie of the year, F9, The Fast Saga. Gosh, I'm realizing Todd gave multiple thumbs up to these movies. Just awful in every sense of the word. Number 2, House of Gucci, for the same reasons as Terry said. And number 1, with a bullet, Space Jam: A New Legacy. Now, I will say about Space Jam: A New Legacy that I also recently watched like about 20 minutes of the Looney Tunes Back in Action movie with Brendan Fraser, making a surprise bid for MVP of this podcast. And that was not dramatically different than Space Jam. It gave me like a little bit of a newfound, like, okay, well, they always kind of do this IP, selling crap to kids BS. So really, how bad is Space Jam? But then I remember Todd's point in our review of it, which is that they actually tell LeBron it's a terrible idea to do what they're about to do, which I think is the best criticism of that movie that I heard. So it's horrible.
We did have a comment. We have a comment come in here from Andy. Let's see here. Show it. Come on. Show it.
It was there.
It was there a second
ago.
It
popped up. Okay. Well, anyway, it says, what? You didn't like all the different movies and IP they explored in Space Jam?
Yeah, I assume
no. We did not like the commercial that was Space Jam.
Very funny.
No.
All right, Adam, bottom 5.
All right, bottom. Okay, stats. I've watched 104 movies this year.
Holy cow!
About a 60% or so, roughly, rounding up to a thumbs up. I thought there was a lot of films. I try to stay away from the movies I could tell I was not going to like, but there was some that I got suckered into, and that's my bottom 5. Number 5, debut on HBO Max, Tom and Jerry. My wife says I'm a little too harsh on it, but I didn't really care for that too much at all. Number 4 was a very disappointing movie, which will appear on my wife's most top 5 disappointing movies. It's Don't Breathe 2. They should have went with that fan. There was a fan theory going around how they could go into the sequel here, and that's not a good movie. Don't Breathe 2. Number 3 was that Paramount Plus movie, Infinite, with Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, that was infinitely bad. Number 3, number 2. There we go. Number 2.
I like how you said it with that, where like Mark Wahlberg's name is part of the title. Infinite with Mark Wahlberg. I mean, that's the title of the movie, right? Right. I mean, that's the only reason to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Number 2 was a movie that I really like. These dumb, like quote unquote monster movies, like animals getting like the killer animals, but Aquarium of the Dead, where this aquarium starts killing people. Very stupid, but not as bad as my number 1 movie, and that is The Addams Family 2. Space Jam could have been on this list, but Addams Family 2 is the only film that I gave 0 stars to. And my wife and I are like, why does my daughter want to watch this one? And there was like some joke. I almost tempted just to turn it off. But Addams Family 2 is my least favorite film of the year. Though Space Jam 2 could be up there. Who knows?
Yeah, we just avoid watching those movies. When they ask, can we watch that movie? I say, no, we'll watch a good one.
Yeah, we'll watch the Addams Family Values. One of the best Thanksgiving movies of all time. We had a couple other comments come in here too. From Not Today, We have Space Jam was rough. Looney Tunes didn't have Clockwork Orange characters, at least, right? Exactly.
Could have.
And then Joey, what's up, Joey? How you doing, man? Hello, he says.
There we go.
Long-time follower of the channel.
Todd, stats and bottom 5.
So I watched 141 movies.
Oh
in
my
2021,
God.
which is
Man, pay this man.
up from 134 from last year, which I don't know how I watched more than I did when everything was streaming. My thumbs up percentage is 50.35%, which is, I mean, it's
Wow.
always between 50 and 55%. Last year was 52.98%. So I'm right in the same range I always am. My bottom 5, my number 5 is House of Gucci, which, I mean, it's just awful. And my number 4 is Midnight in the Switchgrass, which is a Bruce Willis movie directed by professional poker player Randall Emmett, and it's pretty bad. Number 3 is Don't Look Up. There's no redeeming qualities to that movie. Number 2 is The Killing of Kenneth Chamberlain, which actually has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, because mainstream critics are a parody of themselves. This is an offensively bad movie, just like the live-action short winner last year. And my number 1, of course, is Space Jam: New Legacy, which should never exist.
Wow.
So you didn't
97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's your third worst movie of the year.
Second worst,
Wow.
yes.
Second
It was
worst.
nominated for multiple Spirit Awards, which Frankie Faison is actually really good in it. But I mean, the way the movie's told, I mean, it's wrong. You can't do that.
You have really discouraged me from watching that film.
Well, you have to watch it if you're going to vote.
I will be. Yeah, I will watch it eventually, but it's been one of those ones I'm going to start this one. I'm like, nah, I'm going to watch something else. I don't want to. I need to focus on top 10 possible movies, and that's not going to be one of them. So,
Joey, thank you for making me feel better about myself. At least I have you beat. He only watched 43 new releases. So
I know.
thank
I
you.
Almost exactly doubled you up, Terry.
I know. And I was like, I'm like happy about that number. Like, nice, 71. That's a good number. Literally, I've done top 10 lists on this with like 25 to 30 movies from the year watched.
And I feel like, Todd, there was a period between around Thanksgiving and Christmas when you had like no time to watch movies. So really, it's a testament to how much you especially watched like during the summer and maybe early 2021.
Well, yeah, but then even in that time though, like he was catching, like during his breaks, he was watching some of the film independent screeners, and so it's like, oh, I didn't watch anything. I just watched these 5 2021 movies that were nominated for Spirit Awards.
Well, and that just shows when we did our list of the best non-2021 movies that we watched, like I didn't have that many options. Like I think I had a 3-star movie on there because I just didn't watch that many older movies.
That's fair.
Now,
well, how many total did you watch, Todd, in 2021? What did you say last week or the week before?
How many total? What?
Did you give us a total of how many total you watched in 2021?
No, I don't really keep track of that.
Okay, never mind then.
What would be interesting to keep track of is how many of these movies we watched in theaters.
Oh, I've only did like 15, which is sad.
Wow.
I keep track of that.
Yeah, I don't keep track of that, but I could go back and look. It would just take me some time.
Yeah, I could count, but that's not good live.
That is not good live. Yeah,
we'll edit that out.
Yeah, we'll edit that out of live. Okay, well let's get into what we're actually here to do.
Yeah. Good call.
And that is to talk about our top 10. So I'm gonna start us off first before we get into top 10 movies I still need to see that are not in that would be considered potentially. I have 6 listed here. I haven't seen Drive My Car. I haven't seen Titan, which probably wouldn't make up my list, but I have to throw it out there. I haven't seen it yet. The most Terry movie left out there that I haven't seen is Cyrano. Then you've got A Hero, which is coming out next week, which we're probably going to review next week. And then Mass and Fleet are other movies I haven't watched yet. So there we go.
Couple comments came in real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Not today. In a good year, I'll catch like 15 films. Too much time spent watching stuff I've already seen. That's not a bad thing.
That's the balance. It's the balance of what you've seen and watching new stuff. Yeah, I feel.
By the way, Geekly Goods, what's up, Leo? A Mass is so good. We may be talking about one of those movies. We'll see.
I haven't seen it yet. All right. Well, let's get into number 10. Number 10. Ooh, I like that number 10 almost covers up Todd's entire face. Like,
Yeah,
just,
that is
there we
pretty
go.
nice.
There we go.
Does
That's
it,
nice.
Put it right in the middle.
All right. Number 10. So number 10 for me is actually a surprise number 10. I would
Wait,
say.
Terry, before
Merlots,
you go,
right?
Yeah,
Merlots,
yeah,
right?
Oh, yes, I
Explain
forgot
what
to mention.
Merlots mean. Because
Let's talk about Merlots. So as we're going along, if a movie is higher up on someone else's list, if there's going to be some crossover, it's higher up on someone else's list. As they announce the movie, if someone says Merlot, that means we're going to table the conversation on that movie until it comes up on the next person's list.
Because if anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now,
We are almost sideways. So
what
there
would
you
have
go.
been funny is if we had Merloted our bottom lists because it wouldn't have been necessary because of Space Jam.
that's
We
true.
all had that number one, so the Merlot actually wouldn't have
Except for
played a
Adam.
factor at
Adam
all.
loved the movie.
Adam was a fan.
Which movie I missed? I was reading the comments. Sorry.
Dude.
Space Jam.
No. Thank you.
Adam's priorities are clear.
Oh, that this is a great comment that needs to be shown. From my wife, a small child may be yelling hello to you guys in our house. So they're downstairs yelling hello at us. Hi. All right, let's get into it. Number 10. Let's see here. Surprise entry onto my list. I threw it on just as it was a random Netflix movie, but I'm like, you know what? This has some pedigree behind it. I want to watch it. And it turned out to be a real surprise for me. It is The Guilty. It is let's see here. Should I go full screen? I'll go full screen on this one. All right, so The Guilty is a remake of a foreign film. This one's directed by Antoine Fuqua and stars Jake Gyllenhaal. It's like the perfect movie to make during a pandemic because Jake Gyllenhaal is like the only person in it. There's like maybe one or two other people you see, and everybody else is voice actors. And he is a cop who's working the 911 operating system, and he's talking through like this hostage crisis, and it is just brilliantly intense. It's a really quick 90 minutes, and just a lot of fun. And the cast on this is insane. The voice actors, you've got Riley Keough, you've got Peter Sarsgaard, again in a horrible role. Ethan Hawke is in this. Yeah, it's a great cast, but Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, what else can you say? It's Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's a great movie. It's on Netflix now. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. I know Todd's seen the original, but this one is really, really good, and it's Jake Gyllenhaal showing what he can do. So number 10 on my top 10 of the year is The Guilty.
I've had a lot of my students recommend that one. I think it caught on with the young kids for whatever reason.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean,
I have no
it's just
idea why,
an intense thrill ride, but enough where like you don't see anything happen, you just hear it happen. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that the ambulance movie that he's in coming up pretty soon.
That is like the opposite of this. That
I
is
know.
where you see way too many things happen. But it is Jake Gyllenhaal. You're
It
right.
is. You'll watch anything. Exactly.
All right. Now, Todd, you saw the original, right? But you haven't seen the remake yet?
Correct. I know. I need to watch it. It's been on my list since you reviewed it, which is when I found out that it was being made.
All right. We're going to Zach next, number 10.
All right, so one of the things that I like about the Merlot system is that I'm guaranteed to have a few movies that no one's heard of except for maybe Todd, so I don't worry too much about that. And my number 10, no one's going to Merlot because...
Wait, what movies haven't you seen yet?
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I actually wrote that down. Tragedy Macbeth, Memoria, A Hero, obviously, Worst Person in the World. I mean, no one's seen that. Drive My Car. Interesting story about Drive My Car. I was going to see it. I even texted Todd that I was going to see it. And then a snowstorm hit. I may be seeing it tomorrow. Maybe. And let's see. Petite Maman, the most Zach movie ever made. I mean, that I can't really give my top 10 list without seeing that movie, but whatever. There's this movie from Belgium I want to see called Playground. And then I do have to say, Mitchell's versus Machines. I still haven't seen it, but everybody loves it, including people on this podcast. So I should check it out. Oh, and Flea. I haven't seen that either. I want to see that. Anyway, okay, back to my number 10 movie has 564 votes on IMDb. It's a really great movie. It is directed by Shatara Michelle Ford, and the film is called Test Pattern. It came out earlier in the year, and streaming. I don't know if it got really a big theatrical release, but it stars Brittany S. Hall and Will Brill as a couple, and I believe they live in Austin, Texas, and a sexual assault occurs in the movie. And the movie kind of shows the reaction to this assault that kind of breaks up this couple in some ways, and the response of trying to get hospital care and the police involved proves to be very bureaucratic and difficult. And some people have compared this movie to Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, which was my number one movie of last year. Yes, it has a similar vibe, although I think we find out a little bit more about these characters' backstories. There's some flashbacks in here that are really interesting. And I think these two main actors have this great chemistry. The biggest problem I had with this movie, honestly, was the runtime, which was a big theme this year, except in this case, this movie was too short. I wish it had been like 20 minutes longer because I feel like there's not a lot of resolution in it. And I love these characters so much, I want to see what happens to them. So really great movie. Brittany S. Hall is amazing in it. Test Pattern, my number 10, really, really awesome feature film.
I have heard of that movie. It's on my watch list for Spirit Indies. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It's her feature film debut, Shatara Michelle Ford. So a really cool, promising filmmaker to watch out for.
Nice.
All right. Sounds good. Adam, number 10.
All right. My number 10 movies I have not seen first. Last Night in Soho, Edgar Wright's movie. I've not seen it. Haven't even seen a trailer. But I've put it off. And
how did you avoid the trailer?
I've walked out of theaters several times. Yeah. Walked out of the trailer. I Drive My Car, Licorice Pizza, Red Rocket, which I didn't get a chance to see quite yet.
I need to see that one too.
Titane, Quavadas, Aida, A Hero, Coda, Compartment Number 6, Flea, and The Worst Person in the World. There's probably a couple other ones I forgot to mention, but
if I was going to see one more movie this week before the podcast, it was going to be Quavadas, Aida, and I didn't get to it.
Yeah, I was going to try to watch Titane. That's the one I was going to try to watch, but I got busy this morning. So anyway, so my number 10 is a film that hasn't really got a wide release too much. It only has 2,700 votes on IMDb. It is a Spirit Indie Award nominee, and that is a film called Pleasure, directed by Ninja Heinberg. And basically this one is about a girl that moves from Sweden to LA to become the next big porn star. And this movie is very in your face, very uncomfortable to watch. It feels very uncomfortable to watch. I can definitely say that. It's a hardcore look in the porn industry in its rawest form. It doesn't glamorize it. It actually, it's traumatic. And the way it depicts this, the story here, the performance alone from, I'm trying to pull up her name real quick, from Sophia Capel is what she has to go through in this film is very just I was kind of inspired by what she was able to do in here because she put herself through a lot, and it's one of the best performances I've seen this year. Surprisingly, her performance didn't get nominated even at the Spirit Awards. It was a supporting actress, which she was very good in here as well too. But the direction from Ninja Heinberg is awesome. I think if it had a male perspective, it would completely glorify this industry, but it doesn't. And it has her very unique take on this one. And I think her direction style is going to be something to look forward to in the future. And this one is definitely one that has stuck with me in my head, and I can't get out of it. And the way it kind of ends is it's just kind of ends it as a matter of fact thing, and it's very one of those films that you're probably only going to watch once, but it's a dramatic film that's very uncomfortable to watch, and it's just one of those ones that have stuck with me. So I had to put it on my list. I couldn't. It would be doing it a disservice if I didn't mention it here. So Pleasure, number 10 on my list.
All right,
I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah.
Lots of movies about the adult entertainment business. There was also that Romanian movie about bad luck or loony porn or whatever it was called. I really want to see that. I would add that to the list of movies that I did not get to.
All right, Todd, number 10.
Okay, the movies I haven't seen yet. I have not seen. These are in alphabetical order, not in terms of like how I want to see them. Benedetta, which just looks like a Todd movie. Bergman Island, Cyrano, The French Dispatch, The Hand of God, A Hero, Memoria, Nightmare Alley, Summer of Soul, Titan, and The Worst Person in the World, of course, because nobody's seen it. I'm not even sure it's technically a 2021 movie, honestly.
That's a good point.
I'll have to figure that out. My number 10 is a movie I just watched this week. It's a Netflix original, the directorial debut of James Samuel, who is a British singer-songwriter. And it is The Harder They Fall, which is a Western with an all-black cast. And they're playing like real people. And it's like an interlocking classic revenge story. Jonathan Majors is the main character, Nat Love. And he finds out that the guy who killed his family, which is the guy played by Idris Elba, he is getting released from prison. So he gets together his old crew to try to take him out. The cast is awesome. It's got Regina King, Zazie Beetz, Oscar nominee Lakeith Stanfield. And of course, R.J. Cyler is honestly the best part of the movie. Like I don't know why he eventually he'll get his due, but I mean he somehow outshines everybody else. But this is like a really glossed up like Tarantino revenge piece kind of thing. The soundtrack is killer. Like Guns Go Bang is a song by Kid Cudi and Jay-Z that it should absolutely get nominated at the Oscars. It has a chance. And it just sort of subverts your expectations because it really just kicks ass. And it's like these guys it doesn't try to exploit anything. It's just these people that really love Westerns and they really try to make a standard Western and they take it seriously and it is badass. And I just love that James Samuel decided to do this as his directorial debut. It's a great movie.
Another one that I've been meaning to watch. Yeah.
I remember we almost thought about reviewing that on the podcast, but Zach had never heard of it and thought a 2.5-hour Western sounded like it was boring, so we didn't.
But you know what? I watched it, and it's not on my top 10 list, but I really enjoyed it too. I think it's an awesome movie, and it feels a lot like a Tarantino kind of wannabe, but who cares? And there's some like great action sequences in the movie. Todd's absolutely right. It's got some really like the director. It's amazing directing, really cool editing. I just remember there's like a train standoff sequence that is just spectacular. Yes. Some great characters. Like that's a universe I want to get into. So like I don't know. You're making me rethink that movie. That was a really really enjoyable movie. So that's a great call.
What an awesome year for Jonathan Majors too, with that movie, with Lovecraft County, and also Loki, and being the next big villain for the MCU too. So that's going to be really awesome for him. I'm glad he's getting his due here.
Yeah, definitely. All right, on to number 9. Boom, switched. All right, number 9 is a movie we reviewed on the podcast from one of my favorite filmmakers. Whenever he makes a movie, he hasn't made many, and they come fairly few and far between. We weren't sure about this movie when it came out, but I think we all liked it quite a bit. That's Stillwater.
Merlot.
Oh, there we go. I was wondering if it was
okay. Well, there we go.
Okay,
there's one.
All right, so we'll talk about Stillwater later.
It's a hardworking band from Troy, Michigan.
I was gonna say that was the other thing I was gonna say about it. It's a hardworking band from Troy, Michigan.
And the
real Golden God and the Out of Focus guys.
The real reason we liked it was just the amount of jokes we could make about the title. That's honestly like that's why it's on my list somewhere.
Stillwater. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. All right, okay. Zach, number 9.
My number 9 will also not be Merlot, I'm quite sure, because it's a movie I watched on Canopy, and it has currently 117 votes on IMDb.
There we go.
It is a French-Canadian movie, Quebecois, and you know they always make great movies up there. Always a little bit messed up, the Quebecois. And this movie is called Les Notes, which translates to Our Own, I think. And it is directed by Jean LeBlanc. And it is about a neighborhood somewhere in Quebec, maybe Montreal, I'm not sure. It is a messed up neighborhood, okay? We got some, some sneaky things going on here. This feels very much like American Beauty, Alan Ball territory. At the beginning of the movie, we have this girl named Magali, and she's a teenager, and she is pregnant, and she refuses to say who the father is. And so basically, we find out kind of who the father is kind of early on, but the neighborhood starts accusing each other of violating this young girl and all these horrible things that happen. And this is a movie that is full of, abuse and full of, there's some racism in the movie. Basically, it's kind of underscoring how, just like Alan Ball loves to do, how seemingly normal middle-class people are actually horrible, terrible scumbags that abuse each other mentally and emotionally. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's like, it feels maybe a little bit melodramatic, and if you describe too much of it, it sounds maybe like a soap opera. But I was compelled by this movie. Like, I remember I paused it. I thought I was like 15 minutes into the movie, and I was like 55 minutes in the movie. So I really got into the story. This young girl, Emily Bier, gives a really good performance. And it's a really awesome movie that looks like the seedy underbelly of suburbia, which is always a great theme in movies. So Les Notes, check it out. Be the 118th voter on IMDb. It was a great Canopy find.
I love these lists, man. This is awesome.
Awesome. All right. Adam, number 9.
All right, this is a movie that we've all seen on the podcast. It's going to be quad approved. Obviously, I'm the only one going to be mentioning it here, and it's directed by David Lowery, The Green Knight.
Ah,
Nice.
Good call.
So, The Green Knight for me, man, this was a film that I had not seen in theater, didn't rent it on Amazon or anything like that, but I found it on Black Friday for cheap, and I was like, you know what, that's a movie I need to watch before I do this list, and I put it in, and I just like, I usually take some notes maybe with it, and I just got completely invested in it. I was just kind of stop what I was doing and watch it. Dev Patel, man, this guy, he is an actor who picks his projects very precisely, and he knocks it out, this performance in this kind of Arthurian kind of story here of a guy who it is going through in the movie. It's a methodical deconstruction of legend and nobility, and his journey through here, going through that year journeying to defeat the Green Knight, or having the Green Knight redo the thing that he did to him in the film. It's an awesome tale here. David Lowery does a great job. I do like the ghost story. I think this one is better than that film. Hands down. But Alicia Vikander also a huge standout here, given one of her better performances, considering she's kind of fallen, not in obscurity, but she hasn't really done as much as like The Danish Girl or Ex Machina, that star power since Jason Bourne, I meant. But Green Knight, great performance here from Dev Patel, and it's just a really cool movie I want to get back into. Great visuals that need to be nominated, even though they probably won't now, and also great killer soundtrack too. So The Green Knight, number 9 for me, one that I cannot wait to get back into and watch again.
Dev Patel for James Bond. I'm going to keep saying it.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, this was number 12 on my list, so it's in my honorable mention.
Oh, okay. There we go. Cool.
Yeah. So before we go too further, did we have an over-under on what we think number of Merlots are going to be? We've already had one Merlot.
I thought it was going to be 3. That's what
3?
I had.
Total?
3. Total?
3
yeah,
total.
I think it's
total
like
Merlots.
maybe. I was gonna say 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 sounds about right.
That's actually, yeah. Now you say that, yeah, that's pretty good. I'll agree.
So our side top 5 are going to be the only movies that were mentioned more than once.
Hold on, we got a Lisa Vikander comment here.
All right, so Alicia Vikander was watching our stream.
Alicia Vikander is my Tomb Raider. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing her her next outing as that. Definitely has that new Xbox 360, Xbox One kind of Tomb Raider feel to it. So looking forward to that.
I never caught her run as Tomb Raider. I need to watch that one still.
Definitely based off the newer video games, but she did pretty good at it.
All right, Todd, number 9.
My number 9 is the only movie Sundance hit based on a Reddit thread that we will mention today.
Oh, there we go.
Janixa Bravo's Zola, which is now
There we
actually
go.
available on Showtime, so you can actually watch it. But Zola is a stripper played by Taylor Page, and she meets this white trash chick played by Riley Keough named Stefani, and she goes on a stripping weekend in Tampa, which is led by this violent, intimidating dude played by Coleman Domingo, just goes by X. and he gives one of the best performances of the year. The movie gets really wild, and you won't really be able to predict where it's going, but and I guess you might just call bullshit if you didn't know that it was actually based on real life, because, I mean, there's some truly weird shit that happens, especially when Jason Mitchell shows up. It's edited furiously, and it really is just nuts, and some of the most fun I had at the cinema in 2021, because I actually did get to watch it at the movies, which was amazing.
Oh, awesome.
I love Zola. And I know that people aren't the biggest fan of the movie. It's kind of divisive, but screw it. It's my number 9.
Yeah, I wasn't as
see that.
enthused about it as you were, Todd, but I appreciate the enthusiasm for it. There's been like a little bit of talk about Coleman Domingo, maybe like some, not Oscars maybe, but some award recognition. I think Nicholas Braun as Derek needs recognition, because that is, I think, one of the standout characters of 2021. The guy should be a meme. When he jumps out that window, again, without spoiling too much, like that's that's awesome and amazing. And there's just some great. That is like the closest to that's like the Elmore Leonard, Jackie Brown movie of 2021. And I think it's a great mood piece.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on. Movie. I need to watch it. I do need to watch that one still. Moving on to number 8. Number 8 is one that we reviewed on the podcast not that long ago. I have 8 4-star movies of 2021. This is from here on out. They're all 4-star movies. And this one is West Side Story.
Merlot.
There we go. I had a feeling that was going to happen. So, tabling that conversation for later. I just don't get to talk on this podcast, apparently.
That's because you have good taste, Terry.
That is.
And yeah, you're still talking.
Yeah, I am still talking. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so my microphone just stopped stopped recording on my manual record that I was doing.
That's okay.
For some reason.
Don't worry about it. We're good.
Okay, just a heads up. Okay.
All right. So, Zach, number 8.
All right. So, the Oscars really messed us up this year, because what do we mean when we say, these Oscar movies that came out in 2020, in February 2021, are they 2021 movies? Is The Father a 2021 movie? Is Nomadland? So my number 8 movie, I guess, is a 2021 movie that was qualified for the 2020 Oscars, and got a little bit of a divided review on this podcast, but it hasn't left my mind, and it is the Academy Award winner for Best Supporting Actor, Daniel Kaluuya. It is Judas and the Black Messiah, a movie I have not forgotten about since I saw it. Some critics didn't love the idea that, this movie wasn't just a straightforward biopic about the life of Fred Hampton. They didn't like that it also had the Lakeith Stanfield character as this kind of confused, maybe torn FBI informant who's sent undercover and basically procures information about Fred Hampton to the FBI. But I found that part of the movie fascinating, and it is based in reality. The movie has a really poignant ending where we actually see the real people that this movie is based off of, and I think that is as important a story to tell as the life of Fred Hampton. And again, Kaluuya is amazing in this movie. I think Lakeith Stanfield's amazing in this movie. This movie, for me, demonstrates why not only that straightforward biopics are boring, but how movies can bring to life something that you just read about in a history book. Fred Hampton isn't as remembered or as taught as Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, but he's, I think, as important, as significant in the civil rights movement. And this movie was thrilling. I mean, to me, it was almost like The Departed meets Malcolm X. It was just really fascinating to watch these characters develop, and the fact that it was based in reality, a reality that not everybody knew the ending of. I didn't know the ending of. Was pretty cool. So I really love this movie. Shaka King, really talented director, and Daniel Kaluuya. Also, can we just say he had the best acceptance speech? His parents had sex for a reason. Okay, he gave a great acceptance speech. So Judas and Black Messiah, I don't know if it's 2021, 2020, whatever. I just decided in this calendar year 2021, it's a movie I really enjoyed watching.
Yeah, definitely a 2021 movie. It isn't on my list, but I definitely appreciate that one. It's one I haven't watched since like last January or February, and would love to watch again, but just haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, great call. Great call.
Good pick.
Todd had a shrug of the shoulders.
Well,
Yeah,
we saw
Todd,
that one
Todd
coming,
wasn't
right?
as big a fan of it.
Yeah.
All right. Adam, number 8.
All right, another film with only less than 2,000 votes on IMDb. It's probably the one I just watched the most recently, but it's definitely hands down an Adam film, and that is Small Engine Repair.
I knew that.
I
if
wanted
you
to see
watched it, I
that.
knew that was going to get on there.
Yeah, directed by John Paulino, starring, let's see, John Bernthal, Shea Willingham, and John Polano.
Wiggum.
Here, what was that? Well,
Shea
Wingham. Sorry,
Wiggum.
my bad. Shea Wingham. Yep. Anyway, this is definitely an Adam film here. It shows 3 friends who kind of have been through some stuff here, and they're brought together one night, and some stuff goes down. Becomes kind of what qualifies as an Adam movie. It's like 3 guys, who are not the most, like, you're not really going to be rooting for them type of thing, but it's kind of violent here. There's some stuff that happens that it just how do I describe this movie I'm not trying to spoil it, because it's something that it's thrilling, and it gets going, and then when the plot flips on its head in the middle of it, it's like, what the hell just happened? And that's exactly what Small Engine Repair hit. It was one of those films that I've been wanting to watch for the longest time, and I finally watched it, and I'm happy, and I'm putting it on here because more people needs to watch this movie. And Bernthal having a great year. I need to bring out my Jameson, because I need to just take a swig from the bottle or something for John Bernthal, because that's what they do in this movie quite a bit. But he's awesome. Great performance here from the whole cast. This movie works because the 3 characters work so well together. And the ending, it's a great story about bullying too. So definitely check out Small Engine Repair. So there's definitely some cool stuff to like about it.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I remember texting you when I saw it, saying it was like Big Bad Wolves kind of, but I knew it was an Adam movie for sure.
It's definitely an Adam movie. So I had to put it on my list, man. So thank you for reminding me to watch this.
Of course.
Awesome. You guys and your film independent screeners.
Well, that one actually surprisingly didn't get anything for it, but that one.
That's how I watched it, but that was
It's on Canopy too.
a few months ago.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was this close to watching it the other day.
Cool. All right. Todd, number 8.
My number 8, I believe, was my number 1 at our mid-year top 5, and that is Mona Fastvold's The World to Come, which is this romance with Catherine Watterson, Casey Affleck, Vanessa Kirby, and Christopher Abbott. They play 2 couples in 1800s. I believe it's New York. And it's like the super harsh winter. There's a lot of longing and loneliness. And the 2 women meet and have this like ravishing romance. And there have been a lot of these like old lesbian period piece movies that come out recently, like Portrait of a Lady on Fire or Ammonite. But I think this is the best one. The movie has the best crafts of any movie in 2021, especially the costumes and the score absolutely should be winning Oscars, but I don't think they have any chance because nobody really has seen it. The setting also looks like something that isn't really Earth. I don't know what it looks like, but it is beautifully shot. I think it was in Romania is where they actually shot it. But Mona Fastvold and her partner, Brady Corbett, they are like really unique storytellers, and they do things just differently. This represents like the best that they have done so far, and this one stuck with me since I watched it last year at Sundance. So it's now actually available on Hulu and Canopy. I don't know when it actually popped up on those, but people can actually watch it now. It's a really, really good one.
I have a feeling that will be a future like trivia assignment for someone once you win.
Yeah, good call.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Good. Moving on from there. On to number 7. Now let's see if I actually get to talk about a movie this time. So my number 7 is a movie that a couple of us reviewed on here, and I was definitely the biggest fan of, and that is Spencer. Yes. Hey, I get to talk about a movie. Okay.
Wine. No, I'm just kidding.
So Spencer is my number 7. Pablo Larraín, Kristen Stewart playing Princess Diana. This is one of the best performances of the year, and this movie it's so different. I would say it's not necessarily a Terry movie, but it's so quiet and subtle, but it's hypnotic and just pulls you in, and you are just fully immersed into this world for the entirety of the movie. Again, Kristen Stewart is absolutely brilliant. and you get to see this character that we know the real life character, but get to see some of the darker side of some of the things that she went through, and I just loved it. Yeah, I loved it, and it's a great movie. It's my number 7. Spencer, did it come close for
Yeah.
any of you guys?
Yeah, number 14 on my list.
Okay.
I kind of wanted to put it in there. It was battling for it. Was in my top 10 for a while, but just had some shakeup stuff happen. But yeah, Kristen Stewart's great. So
yeah, I just watched that this week. It's really good. It wasn't that close to making my top 10, but I definitely respect it.
Yeah, I have it 29 on my list, and I gotta say I'm really disappointed that Kristen Stewart seems to be like falling out of the Oscar race. Like, it's inexplicable to me.
That's SAG snub.
She's amazing in the movie, and she's made stellar movies the last 5 years, and this would seem like the logical, culmination. And I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's just poorly marketed or something, but she's amazing in it. It's a movie that without thinking, she should be at least a nominee.
Here's what I'm gonna say. This is what would have happened to Jennifer Lawrence if Hunger Games came out before Silver Linings Playbook. I don't think Jennifer Lawrence would have an Oscar nomination. I don't think she'd have a win if she was Katniss before she was an Oscar winner.
So,
but she had already had a nomination at that point too.
Oh yeah, she did already have. So yeah, maybe it had to be like, because like Kristen Stewart, she's still the Twilight girl, and that clouds everyone's vision apparently still.
I think the bigger deal is The Crown. I think too many people watch The Crown, and that's the Princess Diana they prefer, and they don't like maybe that Lorraine actually took some risks in the filmmaking and made it a little bit more unpleasant and uncomfortable than The Crown. Yeah, but that's speculation. I don't know.
But the same kind of argument can be said with Robert Pattinson that you brought up with Kristen Stewart there, Terry.
And he doesn't have any nominations. He's Batman. Yeah.
But people are like, oh, he can't do it. The Twilight vampire guy can't do it. But have you guys seen Good Time, The Rover, these other movies that they're better than that. Personal Shopper for Kristen Stewart was fantastic. She's such a talented actress, but she gets typecasted or remembered more for this one young adult movie that's kind of unfortunately casual moviegoers are just remembering, which is kind of sucks.
And you're right. Pattinson's gone on to have a great career since then too. No awards recognition though. So
crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on.
Kristen Stewart's also great in Certain Women, which made my top 10 list the year that movie came out. Kelly Reichardt.
Okay. Zach, number 7.
Number 7. Oh, this could be Merlot. Terry could get back me because I know he was a big fan of this movie too. Tick, Tick, Boom.
Merlot.
All right. Okay. So, look forward to having a good conversation about it at some future time. When we can also talk about West Side Story. I guess there's a theme in our Merlots.
There we go.
We're the only ones with any overlap. That's the theme so far.
You like
all right.
No, I have and musicals, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Adam, number 7.
Number 7 could be Merlot. I have a feeling by Zach, maybe. I'm hoping. Number 7, Shiva Baby. Or Shiva Baby.
Not quite.
No, okay.
Good call, though. Good choice.
All right, so this is a film that actually is streaming on Rachel's reviews. How you doing, Rachel? Love Tick, Tick, Boom. Yeah, that's a great movie. Almost made my top 10. But Shiva Baby, for me, let me get this one off the screen here, is directed by Emma Seligman. Seligman. And it stars Rachel Sennott. It's based off a short film of the same name. It's probably the most awkward film that you're going to have all year or watch. It's a film about a girl who's sleeping with somebody that comes to find out it's like a family member or comes related in the family here. And she's going through Shiva here, and it's uncomfortable and it's just awkward and it is memorable. And I really enjoyed what Rachel Sennott did here. You can kind of feel the awkwardness and her what she's feeling on screen here. And it's just one of those ones that have always stuck with me throughout the whole year. It's a must watch. I feel like that. And it's definitely the most awkward movie of the year. So I definitely can't speak highly enough. And it is streaming on HBO Max.
I've heard good things about that one too.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie, and it's a reminder. I'm glad you have it on your list, Adam. I have it as my number. Where do I have it? I have it somewhere on here. Number 14. So it's in my honorable mentions. It was my wife's number one movie of the year. Samantha
There we
loved
go.
it.
Awesome.
But I would say that sometimes we tend to forget about the great indie 85-minute movies that get direct to streaming releases in May. And it's unfortunate because nobody remembers this movie, but it is an absolute blast to watch. And you're right, the stakes get continually raised. I think it's actually a really well-written movie. I think people just sort of think like circumstances. Oh, okay, you just kind of create these archetypes. No, like there's really good dialogue in the movie too. And it has that great claustrophobic feel. It's actually directed really well. M.S. Seligman.
That is true.
Like the whole movie takes place in one space. There's a few other movies this year like that, but I think more than any movie this year, it uses the space like really, really well. So I'm a big fan of that movie as well. I can't believe Terry and Todd haven't seen it. That's a disgrace.
Hey, I need to see that one. Todd, number 7.
My number 7 is significantly shorter than 85 minutes. It is 72 minutes long, and that is Petite Maman, which is the Celine Sciamma movie, which is right now in theaters. Eventually, it's going to be streaming on Mubi, which I don't know anybody that actually has that streaming service, but okay. But it's about this young girl named Nellie whose grandmother dies, and she goes with her mother to clean out her house, and she meets this other girl around her age. She's building a tree house, and they become friends. And I would encourage you not to research anything else about the movie. It's kind of magical how it happens. It's like Truffaut with like a touch of Miyazaki. And it's a really special movie. It kind of feels like a dream when you're watching it. Celine Sciamma has come to like the forefront of foreign directors recently, and this absolutely makes her one of the most essential filmmakers in the world. If I could have lived in that world a little longer, like I honestly wanted it to be longer, it would have been in the running for my number 1, but instead it's just this like really kind of peculiar movie that I watched, and it's really beautiful. And it's my number 7, Petite Maman.
Damn,
Can I preemptively Merlot you? I mean, it's going to be on my list, so.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I need to watch that movie.
I've had it spoiled for me, unfortunately, but I still very much look forward to it.
That sucks. How do you let that happen?
Because I read reviews of it, because it looks so good.
Don't read reviews.
I know.
Who does that? Listen to reviews. They will warn you when they're about to spoil it.
And when you listen to reviews, you should listen on the Almost Sideways Movie Podcast.
There we go.
Don't buy drugs. Become a rock star and you get them for free.
Exactly.
Well, that's that too.
Number 6, moving on. All right, number 6 was one of the bigger surprises for me this year because I didn't think I was going to like it, and I ended up loving it. It is King Richard. Yes, it ended up on someone's list. So King Richard is directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green, starring Will Smith, Anjanou Ellis, John Bernthal, and Sanaya Sidney and Demi Singleton as really the unsung heroes of this movie and the stars. It tells the story of Richard Williams and his daughters, Venus and Serena, and how he coaches them and mentors them up into being tennis superstars. It sounded like another Blind Side when it was when you saw trailers and stuff like that, but it's so much more than that. You get this character. I know we talked about this on the podcast, and I know Zach was one that thought it really needed to go further into this, but I think it really does a good job of portraying Will Smith's character, the Richard Williams character, as he's a flawed guy and he doesn't really do everything right, but it works. And the reason it works is because of who his daughters are and the drive that he's able to instill in them through very untraditional means to being these just determined superstars. It's a brilliant movie. I think it's one that is can be universally loved. Like, this is one I could show my parents and they would love, but you can also be someone who is an avid film goer and film watcher and love it also. So number 6 on my list, it's King Richard. I love this one.
It's good movie. Number 22 number 22 on my list right now. Yeah, Will Smith definitely should deserve get to the Oscar nomination here, but all the other performances here are really awesome. It's like I said, John Bernthal. It's a shame that he's not getting any recognition for the performance here.
Why does Dallas suck so much?
I know they're losing by like 9 right now at
No,
halftime.
I mean,
Niners.
I care. Like, it's not the over/under is 51. I bet the over. There's how are they not scoring on that shitty defense?
It's a great question. Because I don't know. Niners are playing inspired ball right now.
I'm rooting for the Niners because we know every round has at least one road team that wins, and it better not be the Steelers.
The road teams do a lot better than this, honestly.
I'm going for the Niners because
this needs to be the road win, or the Cardinals. That's fine too.
Going for the Niners because happy wife, happy life.
There you go.
King Richard is my number 41, so I don't hate the pick.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my 40. It's my number 49, and I think there's a world where King Richard wins Best Picture. I was texting this to Todd this week.
World.
I think there is. I think if things could go certain directions, I don't think Power of the Dog is as slam dunk a Best Picture nominee as a winner as other people think, and I don't know. Just I think there's a path for it.
I don't know. I think the crowd pleaser is going to be Belfast in the race, but. Who knows? I give it. Its odds aren't dead, but it's unlikely. Zach,
Nevada also really sucks at Oscar odds. I figured that out recently because they had Alan Taylor 10-1 to win Best Director for The Many Saints of Newark. So yeah, I pretty much picked that shit apart, and I placed a couple big bets on some Oscar odds.
Well done. All right, Zach, number 6.
All right, number 6 has been Merloted. It is Steven Spielberg's West Side Story.
There we go.
Going to further Merlot it. Okay, I'm glad we did this Merlots because I get to talk about it instead of Terry because apparently I liked it more.
Apparently.
But yeah, Terry and I talked about it, I believe, because Todd didn't see it. And I'll just reiterate, best of highlights. I mean, it's an awesome movie. It just forget the main star is Ansel Elgort, and then it's really a great movie. And it's got some terrific dance and song numbers. But more than that, it I think captures the magic of movie musicals in a way that's kind of hard to do. Although I guess Tick, Tick, Boom also did it this year. And it's great to see Spielberg back. I think personally this movie resuscitates the 1961 version because I think that version is like flawed in some ways, not just outdated, but it's also just kind of stage bound and just doesn't feel as dynamic and as rich as movies today feel. And I love that Spielberg had, he didn't necessarily rewrite the movie. I mean, it does go in depth into characters in the way that the 61 version doesn't. But I think it's like a resuscitation. I mean, it brings out the best components of the 61 version, but with a little bit more, I think, modern touch and modern effects with things like camera movement and, again, more dynamic staging and things like that. Fascinating movie. Ariana DeBose, I think she's got to be considered the favorite for Best Supporting Actress. She's amazing in it. And Rita Moreno, I mean, the moment that she has in the movie, her big moment was unexpected and unforgettable. And you got to see it in a theater. It was probably the most thrilling time I had in a theater this year.
I have it number 60 of the year. Yeah. Oh, Terry, you can talk as it's on your top 10. Sorry.
Thank you, Todd. This is
Todd's making the bid for the biggest douche of this podcast.
No, I reiterate a lot of the stuff you said, and especially what you were saying about how it kind of saves the old version and fixes a lot of the issues that there are with it, but also the updates it has as well, and giving it we talked a ton about this already, but giving it the setting of the slums are getting torn down and the urgency of the conflict between them, I thought was really cool. The performances are amazing. We talked a lot about Ansel Elgort in it. I think he's fine. He doesn't maybe fit, but he gives a decent performance. But Rachel Zegler, Ariana DeBose, and Mike Feist, I mean, those three, the performances that they give, and not even mentioning Rita Moreno, they're amazing, and they help make the movie. And I have a similar feeling with this one as with the other one, and that the music, at first when you hear the music's like, really, a gang movie with this kind of music, it doesn't necessarily fit, but it just draws you in, and I love it. It's amazing.
Adam, where do you have it on your list?
I have seen the whole movie now. Because we had
because
our
you fell
longest.
asleep during it. That's right.
Yeah, because I pulled the Zach Saltz in it. But
I did not fall asleep.
No, it's great. It's a good movie. 36 is where I've 36 currently. So it's moving up. You know, I definitely enjoyed it. It's one of most memorable Spielberg movies of recent memory. Really liked seeing DeBose and Ziegler kind of come out as big winners.
Well, like Rachel Zegler was the problem with the movie for me because she is not that good of an actress and she's really melodramatic. I actually think Ansel Elgort is really good and really like a high war in the movie. Obviously, Aaron DeBose is the star, but the problem is Spielberg and the problem is Zegler. But I still give the movie a thumbs up, and I put it actually between the Sparks Brothers and Saint Maud. So I mean, it's not horrible company to be in, honestly. But I mean, overall, I just didn't really like the lead.
You had to bring up the Sparks Brothers.
Sparks Brothers, one of the biggest controversies of our podcast.
Well, we're on YouTube, so we're kind of contractually obligated to do that now.
Yeah, one of our most disliked video on YouTube.
I disliked it too.
All right.
We should not say any more about this movie.
Adam, number 6.
Number 6. All right, so we're going with the big movie here. We're going with Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve. I think this is kind of an obvious one that I was going to put this on here. I'm a huge fan of his movies, regardless. Possibly could be higher, but it's part 1 now, right? I really liked the direction here. And if you think about it this way, this budget for this movie is $165 million, and it feels like it's an actual living environment, right? It doesn't feel like it's too much CGI. Considering Spider-Man was $200 million, and that one definitely feels like it's heavily CGI'd. But Dune is just a great film here. I think that I'm looking forward to. It gets me more excited for the second part of it. So who knows if this movie moves up or down depending on that second part. But Villeneuve has a way of directing movies that makes them kind of grounded in reality, even if they're not. I love like from Blade Runner 2049 and Prisoners and Sicario and Enemy, all these movies that have really great stories here. I think there's so much to peel into the layers of this film here, and Shyamalan does a great job here. I think Momoa actually really does a really good job with his character of Duncan. Hey, he's single, ladies, but all the characters here, they give really good performances. So Dune is number 6 on my list currently.
It's in my honorable mentions, and Adam, one of these days you will learn how to pronounce Timothée Chalamet's name.
Timothée Chalamet, yeah, Chalamet.
One year, one time, I don't remember when. I think it was back when we were talking about Call Me by Your Name. I think you said Timothée Chalamet. Yeah,
I probably have, because it was number 2 on my list, and it was super high up on my list. And I was probably really drunk at that time. I'll be honest.
But one of these days, you will remember how to say his name.
Hey, Shamlet's really good in the movie. That's all I have to say.
There you go.
He had a good year. Don't Look Up, Dune, Shamlet.
Oh yeah, Don't Look Up was great.
he was in that. Okay.
Right. He was in a movie, several this year.
So just so we're keeping up, we now have, I think, 5 movies from Adam's Photoshop graphic that we've mentioned. There we go. We're only missing a couple more, and Todd, you said like none of them would be mentioned, right?
I said 2. I don't know, whatever. Maybe I'm saying that none of those are going to be on my list, is what I'm saying. Okay.
Well, we mentioned before we got on that this is one of our more unpredictable lists because I don't know. I coming into this, I felt like I did not know where many of you were going to go on much. I mean, I have some ideas, but I really don't know. And a lot of times I at least know, this is going to be in the top 2 or 3. I don't know. So, okay, Todd, number 6.
My number 6 is a director that's already been mentioned, but not because it was on a list. It is Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. because this movie is awesome. It's actually just available to rent because it's not streaming
I'm
anywhere.
unplugging real quick.
So this girl, Eloise, played by Thomas McKenzie, she's a fashion student, and she winds up renting a room in this like old mysterious building and finds that this portal kind of thing transports her to her favorite time and place in the world, which is 1960s London. And everything is amazing until like her dreams start to become like really vivid and like start to affect her in the present day. And Thomas McKenzie is awesome. Anya Taylor-Joy and Matt Smith, like they're like in the 60s scenes, like they're really good too. The soundtrack is really poppin'. It's maybe more than any other movie also in 2021 it's like the images of the movie are stuck in my head more than any other movie. And it's not the best Edgar Wright movie. That's probably Baby Driver, which also was in my top 10 of that year that it came out. But it feels the most like Edgar Wright. And if we get more trips inside his weird head like this in the future, then I think cinema will be fine in the future too. Because last night in Soho was a big surprise. It was great. It is not my kind of thing, but I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, this was I gave it 3.5. It's in my top 30. But with that said, it's something that the Blu-ray comes out on Tuesday, and I've already pre-ordered it because it's one of those movies that I feel is it's gonna be rewatchable. Like I can just put this in and watch it at any time.
But at the same time, I can't imagine watching it on my TV. Like that's a movie you had to watch in the theater.
I can see that too. It definitely was a theatrical experience.
So you guys liked it more than I did. And I do have to say, I mean, we like giving our hot takes on this show. We like disagreement. It was fun to disagree with you on that episode. I think more than any other movie we've ever reviewed, your review really made me question my opinion of the movie. I think you guys are right. I think it actually is a really good movie. I haven't rewatched it, but if I were to guess, I think I should rewatch it. Although probably has more to do with Thomas and McKenzie than it does you, Todd. But I think I think I missed the ball.
Naturally.
I think it actually is a really good movie. I don't know. I mean, I didn't love the last 10 minutes. I didn't love the way it concluded, but I think just from like an ambition standpoint, it was really a cool, unique movie.
All right.
And I have no thoughts.
I was gonna say, Adam, can you hear us again? I know you unplugged there for a second.
Yeah, I muted you until I realized, okay, Terry's talking now. I can probably hop in real quick.
There we go. All right, moving on. We're into our top 5 now. And let's see here. Before we get into top 5, before we say our top 5, let's recap 10 to 6 for anyone who may be listening and hopping in for the first time. It is a live broadcast. So I'll go through 10 to 6 and then I'll reveal my number 5. Number 10 was The Guilty. Number 9, Stillwater, which I still haven't been able to talk about. Number 8, West Side Story. Number 7, Spencer. Number 6, King Richard. Now, number 5 is a movie I actually just watched a couple days ago. It's the newest watch that's on my list, and it's one that, I mean, it's been out for a while. I don't even know why I hadn't gotten to it, but it took me a while to get to it. I finally did, and I loved it. It might be the most Terry movie that is on my list, and that is Coda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Todd knows, yeah. It's a total Terry movie, but I loved this movie. So this movie, it's directed by Sian Heder, I think is how you say it, starring Emilia Jones, Marlee Matlin, and Troy Kotzer. This movie is brilliant. It's about Coda stands for Child of Deaf Adults, and it's about this girl named Ruby who is dealing with her entire family. Her mother, father, and brother are all deaf, and she is hearing and can speak, and she realizes that she loves music and is actually a really good singer. And it's her journey through how does she balance the responsibility she has to her family, but also how does she balance doing what she loves and her interactions with her family, and then her choir teacher, who gives an amazing performance. Also, Eugenio Derbez, he's really good. This movie, I mean, there were like 3 or 4 times in the last 20 minutes of this movie where I caught myself crying. It's just a brilliant movie. We've seen a lot of movies like this. Like there was the one movie last year that we watched that starred the Moana girl, Auli'i Cravalho, that we watched from Netflix. It's like this is what that movie was trying to be. If who remembers the name of that movie? Like we reviewed it on here.
About that movie.
But it's like that, but mixed with and bringing in like the deaf community as well. And I mean, we revealed our top 100 movies earlier this year, and I had 2 movies on there that dealt with the deaf community: Sound of Metal and Sound and Fury. And this one, I think it goes right along with those. It's brilliant, and it's so moving and touching. And there's a reason this movie has had the staying power it has. Like it was a crowd pleaser at Sundance. It's probably going to get a Best Picture nomination for a movie like this because it's universally loved, and it's just a story that you can't help but connect with. So Coda's my number 5.
You remembered Auli'i Cravalho, the crazy Hawaiian name. You didn't remember All Together Now.
No, because that name is. I remember it was
title.
like the most basic, generic, like.
It is a really similar movie.
Forgettable name. It is a very similar, but this movie actually works, and that one didn't. That one felt like it needed to be like a Disney original movie that's straight to TV, and this one has so much more depth and just power with it.
It's good.
Have you guys seen it?
No.
Zach, Adam? No?
I don't get Apple Plus.
Oh, dude. It's
have the
$5 a month. It's $5.
I have the streamer. I haven't watched it yet.
It's my stock response when people ask me what I think of Ted Lasso. not an Apple TV subscriber.
Oh,
you
man,
gonna
Ted
watch
Lasso's so
Macbeth?
good, though.
What'd you say, Todd?
How you gonna watch the tragedy of Macbeth?
I was going to go to a theater and see it. Like,
Man, do it.
people should. I'm sure Joel Cohen would approve.
By
Has
the way,
anybody seen Tragedy of Macbeth?
I did. So I did a double feature Friday night at home because watching Tragedy of Macbeth and Coda was much more interesting to me than going to the theater and watching Scream 5 when I hadn't seen the first 4 and anything else that was going on. So it was okay. It was okay. They cut way too much out of it to make it a coherent storyline, but the performances are good. Catherine Hunter. My word, Catherine Hunter.
Well, yeah, the first 5 minutes.
But I mean, she's the best. Yeah, there you go. The best part of the movie is the first 5 minutes when she's on screen. She plays all 3 witches. All right. Number 5, Zach.
All right, so I try to include a documentary on my list every year. And this documentary, I've talked about on the show before. I think according to our website, I'm still the only one who's seen it, which is just depressing. Come on, guys, get with it. I saw this movie 4th of July weekend, and it had been hyped up because, Questlove, and it played several commercials before the Oscars, and it was Questlove's movie. And so I went into it a little skeptical, but the reality is Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, is a truly tremendous documentary. Now listen, okay, you might think this feels like a DVD extra. This feels like a vanity project by Questlove. How hard is it to put together footage that was shot 50 years ago? The truth is, it must have been hard because this footage was never really seen before. The Harlem Cultural Festival exists in relative obscurity. He does this amazing thing where he talks to the people who were actually there. Okay, we don't get we don't get Bono talking about how important this was. Okay, it was actually the people that were there. And then what's cool about it is that the people actually sometimes reflect on the performances that they gave. I believe The Fifth Dimension does that in this movie. We get some of the great Black artists of all time. And what's cool about the movie is that it's a time capsule of the civil rights struggle a bit, but really it's also about the cross-section of music in American history in the 60s, because on the one hand, you get psychedelic music, but then you also have gospel. Sister Mahalia Jackson's in the movie. You get Sly and the Family Stone. and Gladys Knight and the Pips. It's this incredible, and Stevie Wonder, a very, very young Stevie Wonder. And it's not just, let's look at them when they were younger and let's look at some cool concert footage. I mean, it is really saying something about the world in 1969 and about the world today. And I got to say, I watched this movie 4th of July weekend. I think that impacts my voting a little bit because it felt like COVID was just about to end. Felt like, Biden said we can take off our masks at the 4th of July. It felt like America was really back. And I actually watched this movie on consecutive days, which I never do. I watched it one night and I watched it the next day. And it was just such a great celebration of music and of, American history and cinema. I mean, it's from a purely like cinematic standpoint, just remarkable how they put the footage together. I love this movie, and I don't know if it's been shortlisted for Best Documentary at the Oscars, but it was unforgettable to watch, and a reminder that music back then was better than it is today. Okay, music like today kind of sucks. So watch the movie, get down and groove with it because it's a phenomenal watch. You guys haven't seen it, right?
This has been shortlisted for Best Documentary. I've checked that.
Yep.
I'm glad.
I think it's one of the front runners too.
Yeah, I think it's going to win the Spirit Award too because it got nominated there too.
At the same time, the trend right now is for the Oscars to snub the archival footage front runner and go with something else because like it snubbed Apollo 11, it snubbed.
Yeah, but this isn't all archival footage. A lot of it is interviews,
right?
And so it's unfair to kind of dub it. It's not in that same category. I know what you're saying, Terry, but it's not quite like that.
What was the other? Won't you be my no?
Well, even
Won't You Be My Neighbor was
Get Back is all archival too, right? The Peter Jackson documentary, right? On the Beatles. But like,
oh yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I think this movie is a lot more than just the concert. But I don't know. You guys, I'm amazed you haven't watched it. It's very
that's like my biggest blind spot this year. Is I think I've only seen one documentary from 2021. And that was The Alpinist, which you guys were like, we've never even heard of that movie. But
that's true. That's a blind spot on my list.
Yeah, it was like Free Solo 2, basically.
We did have a comment come in about the Macbeth movie.
Oh yeah,
the witches are the only good part.
Oh, that's from my wife.
Yeah,
that's from the English major. That just was like, this movie is horrible because they ruined it. Yeah. So there you go, Zach.
But yeah, they are probably the best part.
They're by far the best part. Okay.
You didn't recap your 10-6, by the way.
You didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Recap your 10-6.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Number 10 on my list was Test Pattern. Number 9 was Les Nuts, or On Our Own. Number 8 is Judas and the Black Messiah. Number 7 is Tick, Tick, Boom, which at some point we'll talk about, right?
Yep, we will.
And number 6 is West Side Story, and number 5 is Summer of Soul, or How the Revolution Could Not Be Televised.
There we go. All right, Adam, give us 10-6, and then number 5.
All right, number 10 is Pleasure. Number 9 is The Green Knight. 8, Small Engine Repair. 7, Shiva Baby, and number 6, Dune, starring Timothée Chalamet. And number 5. Number 5, is a movie that just needs to go by one name, and that is Pig.
Merlot.
Merlot.
Yes,
that's our 4th Merlot. We're getting close to the over here.
That was one I was not expecting. See, I should have been, but I didn't think about it. Okay, all right.
Thespian Nick Cage shows up.
We'll get there. Todd, number 5. Oh, do we have another comment?
It's a comment that's not really about in honor of the 50th anniversary of it winning Best Picture. What are your thoughts on The French Connection from Josephine DeMarco?
I just watched that for the first time a couple years ago.
I've never seen it.
I really like The French Connection. We should have done a deep dive last year.
We should have for 50th anniversary. Why didn't we do that? Missed opportunity. It's really good though.
What's kind of interesting is with the passing of Sidney Poitier, I believe Gene Hackman is the oldest living Best Actor winner from 1971 Oscars.
Oh, I think you're right.
The more you know.
So how old is he? Wait, he can't be that much older than like Robert Duvall, right?
Duvall, I think, is still in his 80s. Hackman's like 93,
He's got to be up there.
something like that.
Hackman,
But no, French Connection, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty
91.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Gonna turn 92 at the end of the month.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to. Well, and this year
Robert
the
Duvall
50th
is also
anniversary.
91, actually, by the way.
Oh, really? But see, he won his Oscar later though,
I
right?
think Clint Eastwood is also 91.
But they
He
won
didn't
their.
win Best Actor.
He didn't win Best Actor.
That's true. Well,
So
no, I
Robert
didn't mean
Robert
by
Duvall is
age though.
25 days older.
I didn't mean
25
by
days
age.
older.
I meant the oldest award winner from like 1971.
Oh, so like the furthest back.
Furthest back, yeah. Right.
Didn't I do a category like a trivia category of that once? Didn't I? I did. But it was like, what, Zach, were you there? I feel like it was Adam and Todd. Oh, here we go. Which pick for Best Actor and Actress are Renata Rensby and Anders Danielsen Lee from The Worst Person in the World?
All right, can we hook up with you, Josephine, so you can get us a copy of this freaking movie? I mean, come on. Unless we're gonna call red flag on this. I mean,
yeah, we haven't
we
seen
need to
that,
see this movie already.
But Josephine also wanted to let us know her favorites of the year. So her favorites of the season are Come On, Dune, French Dispatch, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Titan, and Worst Person in the World. We had a good conversation about Licorice Pizza last week. If you want to go back and listen to that podcast.
I've
We
only
were
seen
all-
3 of those. That's really pathetic.
We were all
Four
like
of those.
reservedly.
Yeah, it's not gonna show. I don't think it's gonna show up in our
No.
top fives. But
Yeah. We
I
were
saw
all
Power
looking
of the
forward-
Dog though this weekend. It's good. So
There we go.
I'll mention it later.
could be coming up soon.
Maybe.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get back on track here. Todd, give us 10 to 6 and then your number 5.
My number 10, The Harder They Fall. Number 9, Zola. Number 8, The World to Come. Number 7, Petite Maman. Number 6, Last Night in Soho. And my number 5 is Old Henry, which is directed by Pazzi Pansaroli,
Obama,
which is only available to rent, unfortunately. This is like a really good old-fashioned Western action movie, and it probably surprised me more than any other movie in 2021. Tim Blake Nelson is the main character. He plays Henry, and he lives on a farm with his son Wyatt, and they stumble upon this guy named Curry, and he is wounded and has a big bag of cash, so they bring him in, try to save him, but like these outlaws come to try to find Curry and the money, and Henry reveals like this like killer skill set that nobody knew he had, and you start to learn more and more about these characters as it goes along, and it just leaves you in awe of like a new filmmaker doing such a confident movie in this genre. Like I think it's his like 3rd movie, but I'd never heard of the first 2. Tim Blake Nelson's never been better. It feels like a deeply serious Coen Brothers movie, and I mean that in the best possible way. Like I mean I love that Westerns are making their way back again. 2 of them are now in my top 10, which I'm really happy to see because the stories are so classic and so relevant, and this one was just really cool. And Pazzi Pansaroli has a really unique visual style, and this is just a really, really good old-fashioned Western.
Right.
Yeah, I was this close to watching it last night. It was between that and another movie that I think is going to be on Terry's top 10 list that I won't say, and I'm disappointed I didn't watch Old Henry. Because the movie I watched was not very good.
Okay.
It sounds like a dig, but I like it.
A preemptive dig.
Preemptive dig, yes. Hypothetical.
One more question real quick before we get into Terry's number 4. From Josephine again. Favorite cast ensemble of the season. Mine is 9 Days. 9
Mass.
Days is a good cast.
Duh.
Mass. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
How about Don't Look Up? I mean, come on. Let's get the support going here.
God.
That's the biggest cast. I don't know if it's the best
Malcolm
cast.
and Marie.
The Harder They Fall also is a pretty banging cast.
Yeah. Shang-Chi. There we go. Mention that one.
Bo Burnham inside.
Yeah, the one-man cast. I was going to say that. I don't know. There's some great casts. In fact, my next one might be a good one for best cast, but I'll get there in a second.
Let's check it.
All right, let's get to it. Number 4. Number 4 on my list is Nightmare Alley. Nope, nothing. Okay, good.
Nothing.
Good.
Never seen it.
Awesome. Directed by Guillermo del Toro, based on a novel. Second movie based on that. The first one was made in the 40s. Bradley Cooper and Kate Blanchett, Toni Collette, Willem Dafoe, Richard Jenkins, Rooney Mara, Ron Perlman, Mary Steenburgen, and David Strathairn. Huge cast, and it tells a story of this guy named Stanton Carlisle, who is kind of has a little bit of a shady past. You don't really know that much about it. He gets hooked up with a circus and learns some circus acts, and mainly he gets taught to be a mentalist and be able to read people and look like he is he's predicting the future and reading minds. And he decides to take this show on the road and doesn't know when to stop. It is a movie that just pulls you in and takes you on this thrill ride. And I remember we talked about it on the podcast, and I said it's a movie that it was all going to come down to, it was building up to something, and the whole thing is a slow burn build up to something, and if it nails the ending, it's going to be brilliant. And I thought it nailed the ending, and it was brilliant. And it just, one of the more jaw-dropping moments is the last like 20 to 30 minutes of this movie. And it was awesome. I loved it. One of the better Guillermo del Toro movies, like might be my favorite Guillermo del Toro movie. So yeah, number 4, Nightmare Alley.
Yeah, I think I'm the only other one who's seen it, and I didn't like it as much as you. You said the best moment of the movie was the last 20 to 30 minutes. Which
I remember you said that was your least.
Sums up my problem with the movie is that it felt too much like, oh, we're going to do this, which is also, I think, a flaw with another movie that we all like, somewhat like this year with some reservations, Power of the Dog. But overall, I agree with you, is that it really was a fun watch. And for a movie, now all movies are, 2 hours and 40 minutes, 2 hours, 30 minutes. This movie was never boring. I will definitely give you that. It was fascinating from start to finish. And yeah, had some really crazy performances too. And I agree. I think it's better than The Shape of Water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only one I would put like in the category with this is like Pan's Labyrinth.
I like that there wasn't a monster. It wasn't a feature creature for the first time. It's like he's stepping out. He's doing something different. Hey, there's an idea.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. You guys need to see Nightmare Alley.
I know. There's no way to see it right now.
That's true. Because it was in and out of theaters like in a hurry.
Yeah, that was one of like the ones on the short list of last week that I wanted to watch, and there was no way I was going to be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Same here.
Nightmare Alley would also make a great name for a bowling place.
There we go.
Put that out there.
We got another category, a review question here. Favorite best love story of the season. Mine would be for Licorice Pizza, of course.
The World
Best love story
probably.
of the year. What'd you say?
The World to Come. That's probably my highest rated one.
Yeah.
We go
7
with
Days. Would be
This
mine.
person also
7
said
Days.
that they love
7
Clayne
days.
Crawford and Killing It Two Lovers, which obviously I agree with that.
Yeah, Clayne Crawford. Yeah, is Killing It Two Lovers. Definitely a great movie. Than that one.
Best love story.
do we call Luca a love story?
Could be.
Is that the best of something though?
Barb and Star? That's a love story.
There is a love story in there. Probably, I mean, Malcolm and Marie is I have rated fairly high. I don't know if that's necessarily a love story, but yeah, that's a good. I don't have that many love stories up here at all.
You know what? I have one that I'll also mention here too. It didn't make my honorable mentions. It's number 20, and it's a movie that has 129 votes on IMDb. But there's a really good movie out there called First Blush. That was a 2021 movie, and it's all about a married couple who get a little bit bored and they decide to try a threesome. And it's about the consequences and repercussions of that. And it's actually a really good movie. I thought it was really fascinating. I don't know if I'd call it a love story per se, sort of a messed up love story, but definitely sort of a mumblecore tradition type movie. In fact, I'd really recommend it to Todd, especially. I'm shocked the Duplass brothers weren't in it. Probably because the budget was smaller than even a mumblecore movie, which is saying something.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say my favorite love story, now that I think about it, is it's kind of a non-traditional one, but I love this movie, Vivo. Little kids animated movie, Lin-Manuel Miranda music. It's about this old guy who lives in Havana, who his love of his life ends up in Miami, becomes this huge star, and goes back and is like doing her farewell tour and wants him to come visit, and he dies. But he left a song for her, and so it's all about getting the song to her for her final performance. It's a really sweet movie, but also a very much a little kid movie. But
Yes.
it's good. It's good. Okay,
All
moving
right,
on.
next one.
Zach, number 4.
All right, number 4 is the big question mark for me. It sounds like Todd's watched it. It's not going to be on his list. It's on my list. It is Red Rocket, the new film by Sean Baker, and it's not getting Merlot, so he must not loved it as much as I did, because I think this movie is fantastic. It stars Simon Rex as Mikey, who is an adult film star. He's won several AVN awards to give himself some credibility. And he was a part of a movie called Fast and the Furious. That's where you might know him from. And in the movie, he goes back to the small town in Texas that he's from. He greets it's not his ex-wife, they're still married, but his ex, played by Brie Elrod, and she reluctantly agrees to take him back in. And he's essentially trying to rebuild his life, and with a kind of secret mission of trying to go back into the industry and rebuild his reputation. And he thinks he can do that when he meets this girl who works at a donut shop named Strawberry. She's played by Susanna Son. She would be my best supporting actress winner, by the way, this year. She's fantastic. And it's a Sean Baker movie, so you get lots of colorful characters. It's basically, I thought, similar to Zola, except a better movie than Zola. And, I love The Florida Project. I love Tangerines. I love everything that Sean Baker does. It's a movie that is very much about America. There's some stuff in it about, Trump in the background, but it isn't really too heavy-handed. The movie does take place in 2016. It's the uncut gems of this year because it's about a character who's pretty morally repellent and does some awful things in the movie, but you can't help but watch and just be compelled by his pure charisma. And it's like just watching a train crash, and it's pretty tremendous stuff. So it's a movie that's not perfect, but I think its ambition is pretty unique, and it's really compelling and interesting to watch. And I didn't even particularly love the last 20 minutes of it, but I will never forget the character, the Mikey character in it. He's just so unique and one of a kind. And again, his interactions with the characters around him are great. And the world that Sean Baker creates is awesome. I want to be a part of every world he creates. And I really, really admired this movie. No one's going to see it. It's pretty much, I think, bombed theatrically, but it's worth checking out if you get a chance.
I really wanted to watch this one.
I like the movie a lot. Simon Rex is amazing, and I mean, it is like top 20 for me, but it didn't quite make my top 10. I think it is probably about 25 minutes too long, but I don't necessarily knock it for that because I probably would have spent more time watching. Just like you said, similar to Uncut Gems. It's like, I mean, I could have watched the downfall of Howard for another hour and a half, but It is a different kind of movie than you would expect from Sean Baker, though. It doesn't feel like his other ones, but it's really good.
Best use of NSYNC in a movie this year.
Yeah.
For sure.
I showed my wife the trailer for this one. She actually agreed to watch this one over the other Sean Baker movies. So she's at least interested in it. We'll see.
All right.
Todd,
touchdown Niners. They just went up 23-7.
You got to admit, Todd, that the guy who plays Lonnie deserves some recognition. That was a great performance in that movie. He was the Derek. What Derek was to Zola, Lonnie was to Red Rocket. It's a joke Adam and Terry won't get, but
Nope.
I get the Zola part, but not the Lonnie.
All right, Adam, number 4.
Love Lonnie.
All right, number 4. No one's seen it. It's one of my favorite international films of the year, coming from Mexico, and that is a film called New Order, directed by Michael Franco. Boom. No one seems to have heard of this movie.
Isn't Michael Franco a baseball player?
Miguel.
It's Michael.
Yeah. Michael. Oh, excuse me.
Michael Franco.
Like the Phillies, I think.
Julio Franco.
Well, no, Michael Franco plays for the Royals, but it's minor league. Anyway. So this film takes place in kind of a dystopian kind of future, popular uprising in Mexico City interrupts a wedding held at the home of a wealthy family. After the riots have been squashed, they discover the bride has gone missing and the plea with the military to help locate her. It's kind of the first half of this film is just like so traumatic and kind of just what the hell is going on. There's so many moving parts here, especially when the riots start happening. It is crazy. This is another film that kind of is an Adam movie here. There's so much kind of violence going on. It's really in your face with there. It's definitely a dystopian type of film that has some political themes to it as well, and some stuff that's really kind of hard to watch, especially when they start torturing some of the people they do kind of hold hostage. But seeing the villains and they're actually the police there that are kind of part of the under corruptness of them down in Mexico. Really crazy story here that my wife was like, I cannot ever watch this movie again. But it was a really cool international film that definitely no one's really talking about at all. And I figured need to put it on the radar. And it was one of my 4-star films this year. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. And New Order is my number 4.
Nice.
Yeah,
Look at Adam throwing out the foreign film no one's heard of before.
I like the words wedding and massacre in an Adam list. Like that movie Ready or Not, that's the most Adam movie ever made. And I put it in my top 10 just because of how Adam it was. And that's it. I love it.
They're going to say Kill Bill.
Well,
it was a wedding rehearsal. Never mind.
It's true. True. Way to correct yourself, Todd. All right, Todd, number 4.
My number 4 was Merlot. It is Michael Sarnowski's Pig, which is on Hulu. And we talked about the movie on the podcast several times, but it's one of the most fascinating movies of the year. Nicolas Cage plays Robin. He's a truffle hunter in Oregon, and his beloved prized pig gets stolen in the middle of the night, and he has to confront his past in Portland, where he was once a world-class chef, and he is sort of this fish out of water in this strange underworld as he's navigating through to find his pig. And it's nothing like you expect. Like the setup sounds like a Liam Neeson action movie or something, but this is like a really grounded Nicolas Cage role, and that is the kind of Nicolas Cage that I love. Like he only opens up the cager once, I think, in the whole movie. But I mean, it's more about like grieving and more about like love than it is about like actual revenge. And I keep telling everyone that I try to get to watch this movie, I'm like, don't just like pay attention to the premise. It's not about revenge. It's not about whether the pig lives or dies. It's like a human drama, and it's brilliant. And it's a debut film by Michael Sarnowski, which is just amazing. I actually saw that he, like a few days ago, he signed on to direct A Quiet Place Part 3, which I think is going to be amazing. And I can't wait to see what that looks like. But his debut feature, Pig, is, I mean, it's amazing. It's something I'll never forget.
Yeah, well, it's my turn to talk about this movie now, too. I had this at number 5. Yeah, this is, I got very John Wick-esque vibes under the undercurrent of this movie, but definitely, you're absolutely right. It's not really about revenge or anything. It's a man grieving at the core of the film, and it's his way of grieving is trying to find this, this pig. And I think a lot of the story here is just seeing Nicolas Cage being this amazing thespian that we know him to be, but he doesn't have any like Cager moments. But it's just seeing his whole thread of this film being told, and just a really fascinating film that I couldn't keep my eyes off. Definitely had to mention it, and it's awesome. Scenes, little sequences with him berating a chef down that he used to work in Portland with, and having this very preparing a meal, and just little things that, and the little character moments in this movie is fantastic. So Cage, one of the best performances since Matchstick Men, probably. So definitely a great little Nicolas Cage film here. Number 5 on my top 10.
Yeah. Where'd this fall from?
Best Oscar nomination. There's rumors for it. Wouldn't that be awesome if you hear that? Nicolas Cage, Best Actor.
It was top 25 for me. It was top 25.
It's
so it was up there.
It's basically my West Side Story. For Todd gave West Side Story, I gave Pig.
But I gave it a thumbs up though. You gave this a shameful thumbs down.
I will say it did make me think that if we ever do a recasting for Babe, maybe Nicolas Cage is Farmer Hoggett.
That would do, Pig. That would do.
It's not impossible.
That'll do, pig. That'll do. All right. On to me, number 3. And number 3, I got to Merlot it. It's now time to talk about Tick, Tick, Boom. The story of Jonathan Larson told through his own musical, starring Andrew Garfield, Alexandra Shipp, Robin DeJesus, Vanessa Hudgens, Joshua Henry, Bradley Whitford as Stephen Sondheim. I think that was one of the more poignant things about it, is the fact that the timing of how it came out just days after Stephen Sondheim had passed away. But yeah, he's on the brink of turning 30. He's turning 30, and he's battling with trying to get his musical off the ground, and he ends up writing a musical later about trying to get his first musical produced. It's just so funny how it all works together like that. Andrew Garfield is outstanding in this. The music is amazing. The direction is great. By the way, happy birthday, Lin-Manuel Miranda. I think I saw he turned 42 today. It's a brilliant movie. It's one of the few movies that I will like voluntarily just turn on and have as background noise and rewatch over and over and over again. And this is that movie this year for me. So yeah, Tick, Tick, Boom. Just brilliant film.
Yeah, it was number 7 on my list, and I don't even necessarily love the music in it. Like for me, I don't even really remember a whole lot of the songs. I just remember Andrew Garfield just rocking it in this movie. I mean, that was a banging performance, and he needs an Oscar nomination for it. I think it was his best performance of the year. I know all the stupid freaking Marvel fans out there disagree, but it's
what?
Oh, yeah.
Spoiler.
That's yeah. Can we just say, like, after 3 days, why would anyone even go after everything's been spoiled? Why even go see that movie? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Andrew Garfield, the Andrew Garfield comeback tour just continues with this movie, and I gotta say, I love the fact that it's about someone who fails. I can't think of very many other movies about people who fail. And it's not like this movie even has that kind of stupid message of, get back up and keep trying. I mean, it's really a movie about a guy who's totally and completely dejected and gets basically, no signal that his life is going to be meaningful or successful in any way. Of course, we know the truth later, but the movie doesn't really do a whole lot of winking at the audience, which I really like. And it's just fun. It's very entertaining, enthusiastic, and really well directed. Like, the movie looks great. It has some great set pieces, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, I mean, there's nothing the guy can't do, but it's just an awesome experience.
I love also or you're talking about just dealing with failure and things like that. The fact that Jonathan Larson never knew that he was a success. I mean, he died the night before previews were going to start on Rent. And he never knew that he made it. I think that adds to the story.
See
what adds to the story too.
What I was afraid of going in the movie is that it was going to be, okay, Jonathan Larson sees that, and that's going to become the inspiration for Rent. Oh, that character, it's just like Rent. And the movie never did that. Like, it's to the movie's credit, and obviously the stage production's credit, like, it was just much more about this guy struggling with self-doubt and struggling with the people around him, some of whom have not given up on their dreams, others of whom have essentially sold out. And I think it's just a great portrait of someone who is a creative genius, struggling with the self-doubt that destroys a lot of people.
And talking about the Andrew Garfield comeback tour that was 2021, don't forget about The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I mean, he's not the reason people are thinking about that movie, but he is the co-lead in it.
True. Yeah, I love Tick, Tick, Boom too. Just missed my top 10. Like, I was the last minute cut. I was really kind of sad about it, but it's one of those movies that I've definitely been putting on the music and listening to them. Come to Your Senses is one of my favorite songs from this last year. I really love that. Alexandra Shipp has never been better in any movie that I've seen her in. But yeah, Garfield is awesome. I'm hearing could be a front runner, but it's one of those people in the top 5 list for best actor.
He's like he's the dark horse.
He's the
right?
dark horse.
It's is it Cumberbatch? Is it Will Smith? And Garfield might sneak into there.
Be the sneak in.
Why is it a comeback though? Like hasn't been that long since he made his last movies, right?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Hey, and I think Fox just said, or Sony just said, Amazing Spider-Man 3. It's in the works.
Oh, great.
With Andrew Garfield.
All right, Zach,
Anyway.
number 3.
Also, it's worth knowing that Andrew Garfield is not a trained singer. Like, just
he learned to sing for this movie.
Putting that out there. Okay, number 3 has been mentioned on this podcast. It is Stillwater, the Tom McCarthy film that got trashed this summer because Matt Damon used some gay slurs and the movie ripped off Amanda Knox's real life. Okay, and apparently Matt Damon was not a Trump voter, even though he says he was a Trump voter, even though he said he wasn't. Okay, forget all that. I thought this movie, if had it been released in December, would be I think a front runner for Best Original Screenplay nomination. It has a fantastic story that is totally compelling, riveting, unpredictable, goes in a lot of different directions. It's a movie about 3 different things. It's a murder mystery, it's a movie about a father trying to reconnect with his daughter, and it's a movie about cultural clashes and misunderstandings because of linguistic and cultural barriers. Let's also call this the Matt Damon comeback tour. I mean, he was pretty good. I know you guys didn't love The Last Duel, but I thought he was good in that movie as well. And man, Stillwater is it's just a movie that really was riveting. I mean, it touched on a lot of things that I think are on people's minds in COVID and just the last 10 years and how, the world struggles to interact with each other because of different belief systems and different languages and different ethnicities and different genders. And I think this is a movie that it's not trying to be Crash, okay, but it is trying to say that if you give yourself if you put yourself out there a little bit and you try to give in a little bit and you try to have a little bit of intellectual curiosity and try to have compassion for other people, then maybe, it's possible to achieve a sort of transcendence or achieve a sort of levity and that you can't really find when you're sitting at home isolated working on an oil rig in Oklahoma. So I love this movie. I think it's ambitious and audacious and is not deserving of the criticism it's getting. And I know Todd wasn't a huge fan of the ending, but I think, the movie had me engrossed so much that I almost do whatever you want with the character because I was on board for it.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about unfair criticism. Everyone's forgotten this movie. It is completely out of any conversation for anything, which is sad. I think this might be Matt Damon's most he disappeared in this role more than any other role he's ever had. And he's almost unrecognizable, not just in his appearance, but just in how he carries himself and how he is in this movie. And I also like how you said it's 3 different movies, and you think it's one thing, and then it completely shifts into something else, and it just every twist and turn it takes, it just draws you in and makes you just want to pay attention more, and it really makes you care for these characters, and Abigail Breslin. I mean, it's one of her best performances, especially since being trying to break that child actor stigma. I think this is a movie that really does that. And also, I'm going to say, if you're going to talk about the Matt Damon comeback tour, you can't forget to mention the cryptocurrency commercial.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Fortune favors the brave.
Oh, no.
That's all I have to say.
YouTube comments, YouTube videos, ads. No, too much.
Anyways, good pick. I agree because it was on my list. All right. Adam, number 3.
All right, number 3 is my documentary choice. It's shortlisted for documentary as well. The director, R.J. Cutler, did a film last year that appeared on somebody's top 10. That was the Belushi documentary. And this year he comes out with another bio, which is an awesome documentary. Love talking that movie with you, Todd, this last year. But this one is called Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry. So it's the Billie Eilish documentary that's on Apple Plus. This is so as I've noticed, having teenagers living in my house, you kind of start listening to their music and you get kind of engrossed in listening to taking an interest in what they like as well. And Billie Eilish has played quite a bit in our house, so I've been listening to her music a lot recently. And I was thinking about keeping this movie off, but the more I thought about it and the more I listened to her music, I was like, I have to mention this one in this year. This is probably the most intimate documentaries I've seen in a very long time. Essentially it's a teenager trying to grow up right in front of your eyes and be doing this thing, and they're not trying to make glamorize like she's this perfect person. No, she has walked off stages because she got hurt, and she like that pressure of being disappointing people was there. Her music's fantastic in here too, but seeing her struggle with trying to learn how to drive and trying to be this stage performer and learning new songs at Coachella as well, as just seeing all the intimate footage that they were able to get through her into this documentary. RJ Cutler does a great job again with directing these documentaries that feel really personal and getting really good conversations with the people there too. So Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry, is streaming on Apple Plus, and it is a rather long movie at 140 minutes long. And so it's a very personal documentary that I think is, if you're a fan of her music, it's definitely worth a watch. And it's definitely one of the best music documentaries in a long time. So number 3.
Has this been the greatest year for music documentaries of all time?
Could be.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah, and they're like all shortlisted too. It's like we can see a lot of them.
Well, and I feel like HBO comes out with a new one like every other week too.
Yeah,
but
that is true.
Yeah, there's a ton of them out there. All right, Todd, number 3.
My number 3 is directed by Fran Kranz, and it is Mass.
Merlot.
There it is. Ooh,
wow,
a Merlot at number 3. Okay.
That's 5, by the way.
Fran Kranz. I
thought you were talking about Franz, that one movie.
That's what I thought too.
Franz,
Yeah,
like Franz from Franz. Yeah. That joke.
We should add to Adam's bonus every time we hear that one.
Oh god.
All right, that means we're moving on to number 2. And I'm first. Number 2 on my list is a movie I watched fairly recently. Todd gave me crap for liking it, I think, or just loving it. Todd gave me crap for loving it. It is Swan Song. Now, it is the Swan Song with Mahershala Ali, not the other Swan Song. This one is directed by Benjamin Cleary. Starring Mahershala Ali, Naomi Harris, Awkwafina, Glenn Close, Adam Beach. And it is it's a story of someone dealing with the fact that they've just been diagnosed with a disease that is going to kill them, and how are they going to break the news to their family, or are they going to take this new technology that is out there and clone themselves so their family never has to lose them? It's a story of loss. It's a story of dealing with loss. It's a sci-fi movie, but in a very grounded way. It looks at new situations because of what it's able to do with the sci-fi premise that it throws out there, that there is this technology where you never have to feel, or you never have to allow the people you love to feel the loss. Just you feel the loss because you're the one that's dying. It's brilliant. Mahershala Ali is brilliant. It's so sad he's not getting any recognition for this, but he deserves it so much. I loved this movie. It had me riveted. And like I said, it's this grounded sci-fi, but yet exploring such real human emotion that we can all relate to. So number 2 on my list is Mahershala Ali's Swan Song.
Wow.
Not Udo Kier.
No, not the other one. We talked about it not that long ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? Last week? I don't even remember.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
Last one time when we're all
catch up.
So I think we'll have to take your word for it, Terry.
It's on Apple TV Plus. So Zach's never going to see it.
No, I'm not going to get to it.
$5.99 is too much.
Yeah. All right, Zach, number 2.
All right, number 2. So last year, Adam took us all by surprise with his number 1 that he pulled out of his back pocket, and we were like, "How the hell did you see that?" I wish I could say the worst person in the world. I haven't seen it, but his number 2 movie, or excuse me, his number 1 movie of last year beat out my number 2 movie for best international film, and
okay.
that film, my number 2, is Quo Vadis Aida. Now, again, are we calling this a 2021 movie? Calling
Yes.
it a 2020 movie? I'm calling it a 2021 movie. That's when it got released in the United States. That's when I saw it. It came out in March. And this movie has not left my mind since I saw it. In fact, it's only grown in stature. I remember thinking at the time of the Oscars, okay, Another Round, it's a pretty good movie, you know, whatever. But I think Quo Vadis Aida is a greater movie. It tells the story, the true story. It's a fictionalized version of true events, I should say. And it is the Srebrenica massacre in Bosnia. And I'm sorry if I butchered the name. That took place in 1995. I think a lot of us are familiar with the Bosnian War vaguely that took place during that time, but not really the true atrocities of it. It doesn't really get fully explored in the United States to the degree that it should, because thousands of people were massacred and brutally murdered by this regime, the Serbian regime that came in. And the movie stars Jasna Juricic as Aida, and she is a translator who is working at this base in which all of these Muslim Bosnians have been rounded up and brought basically to keep captured. And so she has to broker the deals between the UN peacekeepers and the Bosnians, but also the Serb generals, and all with this kind of, hanging overhead the idea that this army could be coming in and potentially massacring all these people, and there might not be enough ways to get out. And of course, not just the ton of people there from her village, but also her family is there. And so as a translator, she has this unique ability to actually have some stature in this situation. And she tries to broker deals where her family can get saved, but sometimes they have to kind of stay in the background as well. She has to think about herself, her family, and her village. Boy, this movie is just devastating. I mean, it's been compared to Hotel Rwanda, Schindler's List a bit, but it's more immediate than those movies. It feels like there is a ticking clock in this movie, and there is a conclusion that is staggering, inevitable, and so poignant. And then it actually has an additional chapter too that kind of looks back after the events of this movie, which really take place over the span of 3 or 4 days at this camp. Gosh, I mean, this movie is I think it shows again how cultures are deeply fragmented. It shows how institutions and bureaucracies have these perverse systems of funneling communication that get lost in translation. And all at the centerpiece of this is this one woman who, is really torn, and it's really sad what happens to her. And again, I don't want to say too much, but it's a devastating performance, and it's a movie that I think will get remembered in the following decades as a great war movie, but also a great humanist story. Not one of necessarily triumph, but of dealing with these real sad ordeals and adversity. And it's unforgettable.
It's also my number 2. It's Yasmina Juricic is my best actress winner. I think she is amazing. I've never seen that actress before, but she is incredible. Like, this is a masterclass also in editing. Like you were saying, like, I mean, the way it's put together, it's the most intense, like, breathless movie I've seen in quite a while. And I knew nothing about the conflict going in, but like, this is going to forever shape like what I think about it. It doesn't exploit anything. It's just this really specific story about this woman in the middle of this conflict. And it just like, leaves you breathless and speechless watching it. I mean, the final scene also is just incredible. It's a movie I haven't stopped thinking about since I watched it like over a year ago now. But I mean, it's available on Hulu and Canopy, so you can actually watch this movie. It's not just one of those movies that's going to be forgotten. So,
yeah, and you think like, okay, war, Bosnia, you get a language barrier, you get circumstances that maybe you're not familiar with, and you think, oh, this is a hard movie to watch. I mean, it's going to be hard to understand, and there's going to be violence in it, so it's going to be rough to watch. And the truth is, it's not. It's actually a gripping movie that if you allow yourself, if you put down the phone, right, the story is absolutely gripping and actually very easy to follow. What's tough about it is the emotional sort of journey that she has to make, because the decisions that she makes in this movie impact so many people in so many different ways. So don't be intimidated by the story, because like all great movies, it's too short, and it's just engrossing.
If you put together like Hotel Rwanda and like District 9 or something, that's what you get when you get this movie.
And it's Bosnia, but in a way, it almost could be anywhere. There's universal sort of currency to the movie.
Yeah, like I said, if I was going to catch one more 2021 movie before we record this today, it was going to be Quo Vadis Aida. I just didn't get to it, and now I wish I had.
Yeah, me too.
I was going to just like assign you this like 3 months ago, and you said, no, I'll just watch it because I should, and you still haven't. So
I know.
Unbelievable. No,
I should have watched it instead of Tragedy of Macbeth, but I watched that instead.
But the witches were so good.
They were really good. Okay. Adam, number 2.
All right. I think Zach made kind of a betting odd on this a few months ago when he had saw this. Like, this is going to be totally like, I would put money on this if this would appear on Adam's list. Do you have any idea what movie I'm talking about?
No
Zach?
clue. Spider-Man.
Oh, no, definitely not Spider-Man. The Novice, number 2.
Novice.
The rowing movie.
Total Adam movie.
Yeah,
no wedding massacres, though.
Yeah. No wedding massacres. But we do this. We see a young lady massacre some rows. So it's actually, as I was watching this, I felt more connected to it. My stepsister actually rowed for the Cougars. She was doing that for several years. So it was really kind of cool to see that. But seeing a different movie dedicated to rowing, it has a lot of Whiplash vibes here as well. The direction from Lauren Hadaway is really awesome. I think the edits here are really, really well done, and some of the transitions between scenes, and seeing her, the main actress, who is actually Isabel Fuhrman, gives a great performance here as Alex, who is her one mindset is just perfection in general, and just everything else kind of goes by the wayside. That's where you can see a lot of the comparison between her and Miles Teller's character in Whiplash there. It's definitely perfection here, and seeing her kind of slow deterioration from in her mind there between what her goal is and between the rest of her relationships, and as well as her studies. It's just fascinating. The music and the score kind of pulls you into that world here. And the final scene is kind of reminds me of a bit of my number 10 film, Pleasure. It kind of has very similarities there too. So, but this is awesome. And I didn't realize that. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a movie called Orphan. It's like a horror film from, so that's actually that actress.
Oh yeah,
she's also
I had no idea. Hunger Games. She's great.
She also played in Hunger Games, and Escape Room, which is Escape Room 2, which is actually a pretty decent movie this year too. But yeah, she was really cool to see her back in the movie and leading, and is going to be my vote for the Spirit Award because I've seen them all. So although that category anyway, so really awesome performance.
Well, you're welcome, Adam. I'm glad I turned you on to it.
Thank you. That right when I got those nominations, I was like, that's the first one I'm watching, and that's the first one I absolutely love. So thank you so much.
It's a total Adam movie. I feel like Todd would like it too.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet, unfortunately.
All right. Well, Todd already talked about his number 2, which means it is now time
the best
for
movies.
number 1, our number 1 films of 2021.
Do we know what anyone's number 1 is? I think we know Adam's.
I know Adam's and I know Terry's.
I have no idea what
Terry's
I know
mine
is, actually.
I have no idea what Terry's is. I'm not even sure I know mine.
I thought Terry's was Tick Tick Boom leading up to.
I know what Terry's is.
Yeah, I think if you think about it, I think if you've paid attention at
Mitchell's versus Machines,
of course.
Oh,
my number one. Actually, I think it's a great companion piece with Swan Song because it's very kind of similar in it. It's 9 Days.
You're welcome for making that comparison, Terry.
What?
You're welcome for me making that comparison before.
Yeah, I mean it totally is. So 9 Days is my number 1. This movie that was written and directed by Edson Oda. It stars Winston Duke and Benedict Wong and Zazie Beetz, Tony Hale, Bill Skarsgård, and it is the description on IMDb is perfect. It says a reclusive man conducts a series of interviews with human souls for a chance to be born. And that's really what it's about. And again, just like Swan Song, it's this grounded sci-fi vibe, but very much deals with a lot of human emotions. So Winston Duke plays this guy whose job it is to observe and watch people live their lives. And when one of them dies, he is given a group of people that he has to interview and interrogate, basically, to decide which one is going to replace that person in his observation studio and be born. And over 9 days, he interviews them. And just this idea of him, it's a great character study because it's him dealing with looking at what does he think are going to be the qualities that are going to make a successful human. And it's just a fascinating watch, and the way he works through it and the way he conducts it and what he's looking for, it's so fascinating. And the way it ends, I mean, the ending of this movie is just beautiful in the way it's shot and the way it's performed and the script of how it's written. It is just the most perfect ending to this brilliantly original movie. I absolutely loved 9 Days, and it was tough between. I was going back and forth. Am I going to pick Swan Song or am I going to pick 9 Days? I wanted to watch both of them again this week before I decided, but I didn't get a chance to. So, anyways, I'm going 9 Days. That's my number one.
If you would have put money on who would have had the Winston Duke movie on, Terry would not have been in it. It would have been me.
Well played.
Yeah, I had this at number 13 on my list, or number 15. Sorry, 15. Yeah, it's a great performance, great movie there. I do love Winston Duke, and Zazie Beetz is good. Weird nomination for Benedict Wong, last year's Spirit Award nominee there.
Oh, yeah, that is weird.
That is weird, yeah. So Winston Duke is great in here. We get a lot of movies about life after death, but we don't get a lot of movies about life before birth. Yeah. So it's kind of a good little film here there. I like
Adam. You saw this like a year and a half ago, right?
I did, yeah. So it was a very recent drop off on my top 10. Like it was up there for quite a long time. Like I'm sad that it's not on my top 10, but I saw it last year. A great movie there, and I love Winston Duke, as we all know. So
I watched this movie in my hotel room in Vegas a year ago, like almost to the day.
Wow.
I watched this movie this morning.
I have it my number 69 of the year. Nice. But I mean, I do like the movie to an extent, but I mean, I don't know what is with Terry in these last couple. I don't know.
So I watched this movie this morning. I
had a feeling this is the one you referenced.
It was going to be on Terry's list. I saw that you guys also gave it positive reviews, and I hate to be the downer. I guess maybe that's a theme this year, but it makes sense that it's your number one movie, Terry, because my biggest flaw with the movie is that it is too happy and too feel good and sappy, and it's like all these characters have 100% redeeming qualities. There's not a bad apple in the bunch, which kind of makes you think, like, what's the point of this whole contest that they go through? I mean, they're all good. They're all deserving. None of them have any flaws in any way. Even the Tony Hale character. That's the real reason I think Terry has a number one is Tony Hale. But it's like, it has a very saccharine view of the afterlife, which I'm not really into. I also kind of hated the whole first person looks at everybody's life, Hardcore Henry. That looked so fake to me. I mean, that was it was so obvious that it was just doing it for the purpose of the movie. I did like the last 5 minutes. That was interesting, but in a way, to quote another critic, the movie didn't deserve it. It's like it had a cute, uplifting ending. I feel like it's the kind of movie you like in high school. I feel like if I had seen this movie in high school, I would have really dug it. I would have dug that it had sort of a different worldview. But I'm kind of well, then how is the world so messed up? If all these people, if you're gonna get born, you have to go through these rigorous moral tests. So how is anyone a bad person? Is the world just that corruptive of a force? I don't know. Maybe I'm debunking the movie too much.
Dang, when did this become like bash your number one movie, Terry?
It's a 2.5-star movie. I'm sorry. It's fresh in my mind. That's all.
I'm glad you watched it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I saw it too. And Winston Duke is great in it. He's like a high school social studies teacher. That's he's like Mr. Feeney. You want to console him. You want to, he's going to pat you on the back. Someone needs to cast him as a high school teacher.
That's fair. I'll take that. Well, and I mean, all these movies, someone's got to hate it.
I got Dead Poet Society vibes from the movie. Like that's kind of what it felt like, but in a weird, abstract way.
All right. Okay. Well, Zach, what's your number? Oh, I think we all know what your number one is. I know what your number one is.
Yeah, my number one is a documentary. This hasn't happened since 2008. It is my favorite documentary of the year. It is The Rescue, directed by Jimmy Chin and Shai Virish.
That's not what I thought your number one was going to be. Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, what did you think my number one was going to be?
I thought it was going to be Bo Burnham Inside.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I'm not considering that a movie. I'm just going to pull a Todd.
It's about damn time.
Yeah, I think Todd.
It only took like 11 months for you to figure that out.
You're right. I'm not considering it a movie. I don't know what it is, but it's not my number one. No,
oh, bummer.
I love The Rescue. I mentioned it on the podcast when I saw it, and it is it is from the filmmakers of Free Solo, which was a movie on my top 10 of the decade list. So these filmmakers are really onto something. I love the way that they go to places on our planet that we have never seen before, and it never feels like a nature documentary. This movie was produced by National Geographic, but it doesn't feel at all like anything David Attenborough would host. I mean, this is the true story of the rescue in the cave in Thailand in 2018 of 13 school-age boys and their soccer coach. And they got stuck in this cave because a monsoon suddenly came and swept them up. And the Thai Navy SEALs tried to rescue them, but they quickly realized that none of them were able to do cave diving. That just wasn't something that they were remotely trained to do. So they had to send in this team of basically these old 50-year-old guys from Britain who did it as a hobby. Their names are Rick Stanton, John Volanthen, and Connor Rowe. And they talk in this movie about the actual process that they had to go through to fly to Thailand, interact with the Thai Navy SEALs, and actually rescue these kids. And again, I don't want to say too much about the movie because it was an international global event when it happened. I remember when it happened vaguely, but it's best to go into the movie without knowing too much of the detail. It's called The Rescue for a reason, okay? There is a rescue, but what's cool about the movie is that this is a journey that is inside a mine, underwater, inside a cave, and so it's hard to figure that there were any cameras there. There is some footage. There's also some footage that are recreations in this movie, but this is the story of how they actually did this improbable rescue. And the closest cinematic comparison I have to it, and I gotta say it, Terry, is Apollo 13. This movie feels like a documentary Apollo 13 because it is unbelievable the shit that they go through. And if President Nixon were to have asked what are the odds of this rescue happening, I wouldn't have said 3-1. I would have said 3,000-1 because there are so many things from the weather. There's no typhoon warning, but there was there's a monsoon, right? To the language barriers, to the inability of the Thai Navy SEALs to be able to cave dive, to all of these forces. I mean, these kids are they're starving, and the oxygen is running low, just like Apollo 13. And I just gotta say, these guys are heroes. They risked their lives. This was something that they did on their leisure time as a hobby. And so to risk their lives and do what they did, an ultimate sacrifice, it's an amazing story. I went into this movie, I was 50-50 when I was going to see this movie. I was like, okay, a documentary about this rescue, whatever. This movie blew me away. It is so entertaining, so gripping, engrossing, and unpredictable. And it's a reminder that documentary just sometimes is the best stories. And it's unforgettable stuff. And ouch. Well, yeah, hey, you know what? 9 days. Hey, those kids were in the cave for 13 days. Okay. So there's a greater struggle there.
13 days. My mother-in-law's favorite movie, by the way.
Well, there we go.
That's different.
This movie's streaming on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I was going to say, The Rescue is on Disney Plus, so it's easy to see. I haven't watched it yet. I don't know if any of us have watched it. Oh, man. We need to watch this movie.
You had time for the killing of Kenneth Chamberlain and, whatever crap Adam watched whatever that Aquarium of the Dead was, but no time for the rescue.
Yeah.
Film like Kindle Chamberlain actually had a higher Rotten Tomatoes rating than that movie.
I'm sure it did.
And it sucked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's more than just a nature documentary. I would also say, in regard going back a little bit to 9 Days, it is also, in a weird way, the most spiritual movie of 2021. You have to kind of watch it to find out why, but there is a lot about faith and spirituality in the movie that is really fascinating and rewarding.
I'll have to watch that one.
More than
All right.
American Underdog? No.
Well, I mean,
Anyway, my
Kurt
number
Warner
one.
probably could have done it himself. Rescued those
you go.
kids.
Adam, number one.
Number one, as I
Here we go.
reloaded earlier,
Here we go.
that
watch
is
this
Space Jam 2. No, that is Mass. Mass. This is just a masterclass in storytelling,
It's a
performances.
master class.
Yeah. That was intentional, kind of. But it essentially it's a story of two sets of parents having a conversation in a single setting. One parent is there because their son has died. The other set of parents is there because their son had killed the other set of the other son, and it is just a conversation going back between these parents and how they're feeling and what had happened, and learning about each other's sons. And it is a heartbreaking scene that is a film that's really hard to keep back tears, because this is an ongoing issue in our country too. I did some research about it. I was trying to figure out if it was based off a specific one, but it wasn't based off a specific shooting but it was, I think there was one in Florida that was kind of the reason the Kranz had decided that she was going to start making this story. But seeing the performances between Reed Birney and Dow, Jason Isaacs, Martha Plimpton here, some of the most heartbreaking and best performance by an ensemble all year. It's criminally not being recognized by any award circuit right now. And Dowd, I think I would love to see her sneak in, any one of these actors sneak into any category that's being to be nominated and be recognized, because they're that damn good. They feel real, and it's just a heartbreaking thing. There is some moments in the film that are awkward, and there's some humor there that does break up it, but it just feels like it's awkward. Like, how do I respond here? And you can feel the kind of that weight in the conversation there too. So Mass, when I was putting my list together, I was like, this was my last minute change. I had this at number 2, but I was like, no, this has to be my number 1 film. It's just probably the more powerful films that you'll watch all year.
Yeah, that is my number 3, and it's a masterpiece for sure. It's as Todd movie of setup as to get. I mean, it's like 4 actors just in a room together, just talking, and it's kind of a perfect movie. It's essentially Carnage, which I still don't think any of you guys have seen, right? Have any of you actually watched that? No. Well, it's essentially Carnage without the A-list cast and with a debut filmmaker and not Roman Polanski directing it. I mean, it's the best ensemble of the year. It's the best screenplay of the year by far. And it seems like a tough sell, but there's so much just intensity in how this story is told, with like these 4 people just sitting in a room as like a therapeutic kind of thing, like years after this like school shooter thing happened. It's fascinating. And I mean, as you learn more about the characters and you learn more about their kids, I mean, it's a pleasure to watch. And I mean, like, everyone has their favorite in the cast. Mine's Martha Plimpton. I think it's the best performance that anybody gave in 2021, lead or supporting, male or female. Like, she is devastating. And I mean, she kind of reminds me of like of some of my own family members. It's a shame that it doesn't get the awards love that it should. It's because it's not really readily available to stream. Probably it's only available to rent at this point, which kind of sucks. Because I mean, you could easily watch this in like on your TV, and it wouldn't make much of a difference if you watch it in the theater or not. It's it's a fascinating movie, and I mean, it sucks that you guys haven't seen it, Terry and Zach. But I'm sure you will. Oh, you did watch it.
I just watched it yesterday.
And
I liked it. I liked it more than 9 days. It's a 3-star movie for me. I think it has really great performances. I agree. I think it has the same weird problem as Power of the Dog. There's too much off screen. And the characters keep referring back to things that happen that we don't fully get a picture of. I'm not saying the movie needed to have flashbacks, but I think that there's a little too much reliance on that. I think Reed Birney is probably my favorite performance. I think he might have the most challenging performance because he has this sort of aura that he's trying to project in the movie that is basically just shutting off emotionally from what happened. And you see him really struggle with that. And it's fascinating. I think the movie's a little too long, and I don't understand the first 10 minutes, why it needed to be there. But I like it. I think it's a fascinating story about things
setting up the story.
I was like, okay, we want to get to the meat of the story. What I like about though is that it's a part of that. There's a story in this movie, a larger story about school shootings, about violence, and 99% of other movies actually show what happened. This is the aftermath that gets totally neglected in these stories, and I think it's also about bravery and courage on the part of all 4 of these people and their noble characters. Maybe that's another flaw with it too. Is maybe I needed all 4 of them have too many redeeming qualities. Maybe I wanted one of them to be more of an asshole, but that it's fine.
I think depending on which perspective you look at, they all could be assholes.
But to me they're all too redeemable. It's like all of them had suffered tremendous tragedy. And I like the tension in it, but to me, it's like I have a hard time understanding why even the Jason Isaacs character would react as violently as he does at times in the movie. But it's a good movie, and I respect your guys' pick.
Okay. And I need to see it. I do.
Yeah, Terry's absolutely going to be more on Adam and my side, but I mean,
probably
maybe not in his top 10, but I mean, he's gonna like it a lot more.
All right. Well, Todd, you're the last one. Number 1.
So this is the point where we get to that point where Miles is trying to describe the day after yesterday, and he's just like, if you want to stop watching or listening or reading at any time, I will not be offended, because nobody knows this movie. I think it has 1,000 votes in IMDb, and I watched this movie in August. It was a Netflix original Japanese movie called A Family. It's not even actually billed as that on IMDb. It's called Yakuza and the Family. It's directed by Michihito Fujii. And I watched this actually again just like 2 days ago just to make sure I wasn't crazy. The similar way I did to Blue Story last year, which is still by far the best movie of 2020. This is a movie. It's about Kenji, played by Go Yano, who he's like a young man. His father dies, and he falls in with this Yakuza boss named Hiroshi, and he becomes like a father figure to him, sort of. He winds up doing time, and when he gets out, there's these like anti-Yakuza laws that come into place, and so the Yakuza are kind of dying out, and Kenji doesn't really know anything else but being his life as a gangster, and his wife and his child that he didn't really know very well are sort of persecuted for even associating with him. And it takes what you think the movie is going to be going in, which is like some sort of like pseudo like cool Wong Kar-wai kind of gangster movie, and it is that for a little bit, but then it really flips it on its ear, and it becomes this like really engaging crime story that, in a way that like Scorsese might make in his early years. The actors are all amazing, Ayano especially, and Michiko Ono plays his wife Yuka. She is also one of the best supporting actresses of the year. It's critical of like Yakuza culture, but it's also sympathetic of these aging gangsters who are being ostracized from society. I was so incredibly enthralled by this movie because I went in thinking it was going to be one thing. It was like a slick, gangster movie, and I'm grateful that it was something else because it's stunning. And the final scenes make it what it is, which is the best movie of 2021. And I don't know anyone else that's even heard of this movie. It came on Netflix midway through last year, but A Family, or Yakuza and the Family, whatever you want to call it, that is the best movie of 2021.
I think your
Wow.
best take of 2021 is that this is like the scene in Sideways when Miles says you can stop reading it at any time. That was a nice use of that as an analogous example. Well done.
Yeah. I mean, and that was what I knew it was going to be like, because I knew no one else would have watched this, but you really should.
I thought it was going to be the one you told me to watch, Smells Like Cows, or
Home with Horses.
Calm with Horses. Yeah.
That's 2020.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Smells like cows. Smells like cows.
Smells like cows.
That's what I always say Enum Car is like. Just smells like cows.
Okay. All right.
So we got a Japanese movie that no one's heard of, a documentary, a movie with 4 actors, and 9 days.
Thank you. Thank you.
And no mention of Spider-Man. That's
No
what?
mention of Spider-Man.
Wow, holy cow.
It's
Or
the
Power
one
of the
that was
Dog.
left off the list.
Where was Power of the Dog?
Yeah.
I had to get the clicks with the Spider-Man. That's why I put that there.
Todd, I thought you were gonna say Drive My Car. Because I know that had to be close. But we'll get to that because it's time for honorable mentions. So my honorable mentions, we usually do 11 to 15. I'm gonna do 11 to 20 because like I said, I rate from on a scale of 100. 11 to 20 all had the exact same rating, and I rated them, but I want to mention them all because they all are right there. Number 11 was Malcolm and Marie, which was my 2021
Wow.
movie.
Really close. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
My 2021 movie that was here. Anyways, number 12 was Dune. Number 13, Bo Burnham Inside. I'll have it on there since it wasn't actually in my top 10. 14, The Mitchells versus the Machines. 15, No Time to Die. 16, Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. 17, In the Heights. 18, Worth. 19, Belfast. And number 20, Come From Away.
I don't even know what that movie is.
It is.
It's a
kind of like
musical on Apple
it's a
Plus.
musical. It's kind of like a
Harry only watches Apple
Hamilton-like recording of their stage production on Broadway. It's on Apple TV Plus. You need to watch it. It's pretty good. It's about one of the September 11th and one of the planes that had to be diverted from France on its way to Texas, and it was diverted to some random airport in Newfoundland.
Oh, I heard about that movie.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's really cool. All right, Zach, honorable mentions.
All right.
20 through 11.
Really? Okay. Well, 20 I actually mentioned, which was First Blush. I mischaracterized the movie. It's not necessarily about a couple that has a threesome. They actually have a polyamorous relationship. So it was my favorite indie mumblecore movie of the year. 19 is Licorice Pizza. 18 is The Killing of Two Lovers. 17 is Passing. 16 is No Sudden Move. 15, a movie I really wanted to put on my top 10. I couldn't justify it, though. Barb and Star. Now, can we just say that Barb and Star is the funniest movie of the year? I know Todd's going to disagree, but if we're just talking from a purely fun movie-going standpoint, Barb and Star should have made my top 10 list. I love it. Number 14 is Shiva Baby. Number 13 is Slalom. Number 12 is The Green Knight. And number 11 is The Power of the Dog. The only thing I wanted to add was that
So close.
The Rescue was my number 1 movie of the year. However, if the Netflix series Made had been a movie, that would have been my number 1 of the year. And
Like an early 2000s movie starring Ashley Judd. Yes, it probably should have been.
It would have been, but it's impossible because it's 10 hours long, and Todd's obviously giving me shit for it. But it was the best fictional storytelling I saw all year, but it's not a movie. And I would also give a shout out to Queen's Gambit too, which would have made my top 10 list if it was a movie. You'd agree on that, Todd, right?
That was 2020.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that might have been
I watched it
September
in
2021.
Okay, well, never mind.
All right, Adam, honorable mentions.
Number 20. Well, there's some movies I want to mention here. I guess number 20. This Is Not a War Story. 19. Ghostbusters Afterlife. 18, The Suicide Squad. 17, The Mitchells vs. the Machine. 16, The Power of the Dog. 15, 9 Days. 14, Spencer. 13, Quiet Place 2. 12, Tick Tick Boom. And number 11, The Killing of Two Lovers.
That's the one
With
that
a huge shout out of Malignant, which is just a fun horror film that you should watch. That's number 21.
All right, Todd.
Well, Queen's Gambit came out October of 2020, and I know that Zach watched that before I did, and I watched that like a month after, so I know that there was nowhere close to 2021.
Oh, it was 2021. I think I watched it in February.
No, you didn't.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Okay.
You're telling me when I watched it?
Yeah, because you told me to watch it in like November of 2020. But okay, my number 20 is Paper Spiders. Number 19, Nobody. 18, Passing. Number 17, This Is Not a War Story. 16, The Lost Daughter. 15 is Where I Have Red Rocket. 14, The Power of the Dog. 13 is a very Todd movie. Only 2 actors in the whole movie, Mark Duplass and the director star of the movie, Language Lessons, which is awesome. Probably the best thing that ever came out of quarantine. Number 12 is Small Engine Repair. And number 11 is Where I've Driven My Car. Unfortunately, just missed out because, I mean, it would have made it if I didn't watch The Harder They Fall just last week. And because my number 1 was a Japanese movie, so I couldn't have 2. I mean, I could have, but, you know.
You can't have 2 Japanese movies on your top 10.
A Family is better than Drive My Car.
Hey,
And better than every other movie.
Wait till you see 7 Days, because that's a fun quarantine movie. It's like very When Harry Met Sally in quarantine.
And another Mark Duplass film.
And Mark Duplass as Big Daddy. Yeah.
Are we watching this Fourth Down?
Oh, wait, what's happening?
Oh, it didn't get it. Didn't get it. That ends a game.
Well, they have 3 timeouts left, but
Yeah, it pretty much ends a game.
All
All right.
Incomplete pass. Is that what you're saying?
Hold on a
Yeah.
second. I think the Niners just won. We're going to win.
Okay.
No, it's not over. They're still in their own. They're in San Francisco territory still. It's not over.
People are popping in this live stream. We're reacting to the football game right now.
Yeah, we are. Okay. So let's wrap this up, and we're going to wrap this up with the reveal of our top 5, our site's top 5 of 2021.
The 5
I don't even know what that's going to look like.
Now
the
this
5
is
Merlots.
kind of crazy. So
Mass has to be
there were
number
only-
1, right?
there were only 6 overlaps.
Man, I said 4.5. Okay, so what do you think
There were
over?
6 overlaps, which is the fewest overlaps since 1987. I just went back and looked.
Oh, wow. There we go.
The fewest amount of
Nice.
overlaps since 1987, and there are all the overlaps are only on 2 lists. This is only I've got our top 5s figured out all the way back to 1954 right now. This is only the 3rd time that the most amount of overlap was only on 2 lists. 1987 and 1959 being the other 2 times. Every other year, a
That's
film appears on at least 3 lists. So this is one of the most diverse lists. 34 different movies are represented on this list, and I think that's the most of all time. That is the
That's
most
awesome.
of all time.
That's awesome.
That is unbelievable.
Thanks
Yeah.
to the pandemic.
And
But
also
even like
2021 not being
last
the
year was
best
the
year.
last year was the pandemic year, but last year we had like Sound of Metal and The Father that were on all 4 of our lists, and then we had Nomadland and Palm Springs that were on 3 of the lists. So, okay. Anyways, here we go. Number 5 on our top 5 is Stillwater. Number 4 is Tick Tick Boom,
That should be number 1. That was quad approved.
but it wasn't on your guys' lists.
Oh no.
Number 3 is Pig.
Okay, I accept.
Number 2 is Quo Vadis Aida, and number 1 is Mass. Now, by the way, I actually calculate this. Mass and Quo Vadis Aida were tied because one was a first and a third, and the other was a second and a second. But the tiebreaker is someone had it number 1. So Mass is number 1, Quo Vadis Aida 2, Pig 3, Tick Tick Boom 4, Stillwater 5. And the only other overlap was West Side Story. That's number 6.
It could
That's
be
incredible.
worse.
That one was quad approved compared to Stillwater.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's insane. All right.
It's because
Let's
Adam
wrap this
had
up.
like the most indie list I've ever heard. Like more than I could
I
ever
told
dream
you.
of doing. He had Dune and a
Surprising.
bunch of like Spirit nominees.
Well, let's wrap
like
this
it.
up. Quote of the daytime. Quote of the daytime. Let's finish this up. I'll start. My quote of the day. It comes from one of my top 10 movies, which I hope all of ours do at some point. And it is from Tick Tick Boom. It is my favorite lyric of the movie. It's the opening of the song Therapy. And it's just simply, I feel bad that you feel bad about me feeling bad about you feeling bad about what I said, about what you said, about me not being able to share a feeling. There you go. That's my quote.
It sounded like it could have been from Bo Burnham's side.
Yeah, that song about turning
Get
30
your
was
effing
also quite
hands
out
up.
of
Yeah,
program.
yeah.
Not by the feet. All eyes on me. All eyes on me. Get
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, anyways, there's my quote for you guys. That song has been rolling through my head ever since I heard it the first time, and now my kids sing it because I play it in the house.
Nice.
All right, Zach, quote of the day.
I wanted my quote of the day to be from Stillwater, but instead I'm going to choose the movie that the band Stillwater is in. And that is Almost Famous, in case you didn't know. And which I recently actually did watch. And there's a great line in it from Penny Lane. I always tell the girls, never take it seriously. If you never take it seriously, you never get hurt. You always have fun. And if you get lonely, just go to the record store and visit your friends. And we don't take things too seriously here, but this feels like a record store with some friends. I also really wanted to use the quote, want to see me feed a mouse to my snake, but I thought that was a little irrelevant.
Yes.
Real Topeka people.
Real Topeka people, man. Adam, quote of the day.
All right, I have a couple here. Obviously, we have some of my most memorable quotes that gets repeated throughout the movie is from Halloween Kills. Evil dies tonight. I guess I just have to throw that out there because it's ridiculous.
Yes.
Also, No Time to Die. It's, do you know what time it is? It's time. It's time to die. But my quote is actually coming from the Suicide Squad. I'll just say that. Where is it? Okay. This is Ratcatcher talking to Ratcatcher number 2. Taika Waititi's character saying, rats are the lowliest and most despised of all creatures, my love. If they have purpose, so do we all. And our purpose here at Almost Sideways is to give awesome movie reviews and conversation to you all. So make sure you subscribe. So there we go. Anyway,
Nice.
that's my quote.
Very nice. Way to pull it together. Todd, wrap us up.
My quote is a reflection of the fact that I had 0 4-star movies in 2021, but I was constantly looking for one. So my quote comes from The Card Counter, which is from William Tell, the main character. He says, poker is all about waiting. Hand after hand, hours pass, days pass. Hand after hand, each hand like the hand before. Then something happens. Unfortunately, nothing happened in 2021, but I had a decent list, I think.
Very nice.
You did.
Very nice.
Stay in bounds.
Debo just got the first down.
That's it.
It's over. And
And
our podcast is over. Thank you guys so much for listening and experiencing this live stream with us.
More like
Experimenting, yeah. And this will be posted
short of the first down.
I don't think he did. I don't think he
he's
did.
short.
Anyways, this will be on our podcast channel in the next couple days. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back at you next week with another episode. Until then, have fun watching movies, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Out.